Nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Necrotic Wake. Address an issue where players can be targeted by affixes while on their way back up to the top platform during the last boss. Cool. Oh, dude, they need to do that for Last Boss Siege, by the way. They need to do a Oblivion hotfix on that boss.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, you could get the orbs spawning under the water.
What was it also? Last boss Arakara. Oblivion orbs are apparently nuclear to actually be able to soak.
Yeah, that's just hard. That feels a little bit more.
I guess it's not a bad interaction, but it's more
than
just like,
super unfair.
A little bit of quality of life changes on Mistcaller there.
I would hit Surgeon Stitch Flesh.
I was
again.
waiting for that.
Yeah, I would also hit that boss again.
I think that I would be cutting the ad HP by 50% probably. Like, I'm not even kidding. The ads are almost impossible to kill.
Yeah, you just fall behind on them, and then, or you focus them, and then you can do like 1% to the boss before it goes back.
We tried to focus them today with our Lust Up because we committed all of our spears and wiped to the boss.
Of course.
So we're then trying to figure out the way to kill the boss, and we couldn't kill the ads in time.
Yep.
And it's just like, well, what if we can't even do the boss the correct way? You can only cheese it, and I don't love that.
Yeah.
That feels wrong. I would be looking to hit that boss again.
I agree. Yeah, that's quality of life. A little bit of a better visibility on that Vulpin when it comes out, and then Patty Cake just being increased range.
Hooray!
It's gonna be nice.
You're almost there.
I was hiding.
That's Twitch from League of Legends.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wrong game.
I would do the Tredova ground effect thing, the same as that we saw from the Twilight Drake, where I think that Tredova's ground effect. First off, the fact that a lot of it's invisible is really obnoxious, but also the fact that it insta-ticks you feels so annoying.
There are a few effects in Mist of Tyranid Scythe where visibility is scuffed by the ground being uneven elevation.
Yeah.
So like on Mistcaller, this can happen as well, where those arrows from the boss, if it's in that like watery area, they're just hidden. So I would love those to get a little bit of verticality on the effects of some kind. Stone Vault, with a hotfix that's not yet live, the Howlers will properly reset their health when leaving combat.
Don't wipe to those mobs.
Try not to wipe anywhere, really. That's
good point.
Master advice. The Master Machinist as well. This is the boss that is really hard in there, right? The council boss, the two-target one?
The two-target council fight.
Ability timing has been adjusted to prevent a potentially unfair overlap between Exhaust Vents and Blazing Crescendo.
So this was spell queue. This was a spell queuing thing, and you could actually get the Exhaust Vents immediately into Dorito doing the box push in the middle of the room that did the AoE in a weird way where there was sometimes you had a lot of time to be able to actually recover your HP, and sometimes you had like 2 seconds to get to the safe vent, and the box was then being moved straight into the middle of the room, and that caused a lot of people to die. How we had solved it for that on beta was like centering the boss in the middle of the room and just like very quickly identifying where we needed to go.
Yeah.
But it did feel very unfair. I agree with that.
They've also increased the cast time of Molten Metal, a little bit longer to get that kick, especially the one after the box throw.
I have an issue with that kick actually happening. I think that there should be a grace period on that mob casting. So in like all melee groups, there is an issue where it's just like really difficult to get the Molten Metal kick on time. Additionally, for whatever reason, the Tank Buster on that boss fervents.
Yeah, and so if you charge to try and get the kick, then you're going to get fervented.
Or like Infernal Strike, Heroic Leap, anything, somebody's getting fervented, and I'm not in love with that.
Silent Speaker, I don't know what that mechanic is. Is that when one of them's dead and the other's still alive?
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, that does kill you rather quickly if you don't do your damage evenly between those two.
Straight up, I wouldn't have known what that was until you said it.
Okay. And then also, address an issue where key level does not automatically populate for Siege of Paralysis.
Wait, I thought it didn't populate for a lot of other dungeons.
Yeah, I heard that the group finder was kind of, there were problems with it, so maybe this is
when you search for keys, you would literally only see like 3 dungeons, and it was Mist, Spiralis, and Grim Batol.
It was like a key range issue where if you're searching for a specific range of dungeons, you would only see, like you were saying, those specific dungeons. And then some dungeons like Orakar or whatever wouldn't be filtered in.
Yeah, City of Threats, who wouldn't show up.
You would have to filter like by the dungeon itself, I think you're looking for.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is like if you just want to do like your +9s or whatever, it's kind of obnoxious to go in and like look at all the Grim Batols, look at all the Stone Vaults, look at all the Arakaras to then find those. So yeah.
I like all these changes. I don't think they're comprehensive, like in the sense of that I don't think they're everything that I needed, like I wanted to see changed.
That's a lot of changes, though. It's nice.
But yeah, these are a lot of changes, and these are a lot of good changes. I don't think there's any change where I'm sitting here like, oh, okay, why don't you do this? It's more just like, oh, I wish you hit the Enforcer shout, damage a little bit. Oh, I wish you
Stitch Flash
look
ads.
at Surge and Stitch Flash again.
Yeah, I think that's a big one for me.
Could be down for you to rework that fight. Could maybe be down for a full rework on how that boss works.
I think even in BFA, that fight was often painful.
Well,
yeah.
spears were more overpowered then, and so that you committed spears on that boss then.
Yeah.
But spears were better, so
yeah, fair trade perhaps.
I don't know. But yeah,
maybe we take Stitch Flash and we move him out of that dungeon.
What would you do? I mean, any changes, any additional changes you would make?
I like nerfing Stitch Flash again. Yeah, I think that boss is. They need to all be fair without weapons, and then you use your weapons somewhere by choice, rather than every single group is always using all their weapons on Stitch Flash as it stands right now.
Because it's required. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, so those are our hot fixes, our Mythic dungeon tuning. Today, I know all of our raiders love Mythic dungeons as well, so we may even see some of those later.
Today. Yeah.
I love Mythic Plus.
I love Mythic Plus Keystones.
Yep.
But yeah, our raiders are still doing heroic splits. We could see that was happening earlier, and they were doing a full run in a couple of different splits. So that's what's been going on here for a while.
Yeah.
An interesting day so far. The Mythic Reclear has gotten to 4 of 8, and there's been some BOE farming too, which has gone reasonably well.
Mm-hmm.
What's for dinner tonight?
Baked ziti, I believe.
What's that?
It's a pasta dish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like from Italy.
Like from Italy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard pasta with chicken.
Yes, I think that is involved potentially as well. I think it's baked rather than boiled. Is that what normally happens to pasta? Yeah.
I mean, it can be both. It can be boiled and then baked.
It's weird. I wouldn't have thought of it as boiled, but now that I'm thinking about the process of cooking it, it is boiling, right? For not the baked ziti, of course, that's baked.
Yeah.
You don't look like somebody who cooks.
I can cook. I can boil a pasta. Let me tell you, that's one of my many specialties. I can also toast the bread.
What's on your menu of? You come over to Trados' apartment. What is he cooking for dinner?
There's also many microwave specialties available to me. Almost anything that the microwave does, I can do.
Uh-huh.
I have actually one of my skills is if I put 4 minutes on the microwave and then I go to my computer in a different room, I can walk back in reliably with less than 10 seconds on the microwave before it beeps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Is that like the people that write like, oh, I can do like 60-second rice within 55 seconds?
No. It takes the full amount of time. I just know when it's about to beep before it beeps, and I walk back into the room that way.
That's just a habit. You're describing a habit. That just tells me you used a microwave a whole lot.
One of the mini Dratinus specialties as well is also whenever he goes up to the Chipotle, his local Chipotle, they actually know what he wants before even ordering.
Oh, really? Yeah,
That's
you
true.
ordered there a lot, right?
Do love it. All right.
I had Chipotle for the first time yesterday.
How did you feel?
It was pretty good, yeah.
Well, okay.
A bit spicy.
Bit spicy?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have spice in Germany.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, we have another exciting War Within Heroic Edition giveaway to be done. So if you are interested in winning that, and you have a North American account, type hashtag the War Within in our Twitch chat, and you'll be entered to win a War Within Heroic Edition. We have one more later. If you don't get this one, you can try again. So make sure you stay tuned to this channel. And if you do win, you will need to get in touch with a mod as well. So don't tab out. Stay on the lookout for that. We are going to head to a Monster Energy listen-in prior to our caster swap as well, while this giveaway is underway in chat. Before we go, though, one final big thank you to all of our sponsors: Coinbase, Secret Lab, Alienware, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and DungeonDojo, and Monster Energy, who are also powering this listen-in.
Wait, go to listen-in.
Look, it pops up the Monster Energy listening thing. It'll be right here.
Yeah.
It'll be right over here.
Over there.
Right.
Listen.
Now.
Hocus pocus, listen in.
We're also going to swap casters after this. For some reason they don't want us to stay here. They want to get other casters when we come back.
For some mysterious reason, it's not working.
Monster.
It's good. Lip drop a wind rush. Okay, you guys are going to find the line that's red. That's the one that's targeting you. If you get picked here, you're going to run at it, then turn it away from the raid. Go. Whatever you do, you can't shoot it through the middle of the room. Okay, good job. Now stay out still. Look at the lines coming out of your character. Make sure they're not going through the middle of the room again. One arm come through the middle. Careful. And then be on this side. I have faith in you. You can take that. All right, spread out here. Everybody spread out. Give each other a lot of room. If you get targeted by any of these lines in this phase, you immediately use the defensive. Offset, the warrior, rally. If your health is below half for more than 2 seconds, use a health pot or a health zone here. But if you get picked, you have to use a defensive. You can't get hit by 2. Almost done.
Water. I miss it.
Soulstone.
All right, first thing we're getting is circles. We're going to put them on any of the colors.
You're next.
Put them at the colors.
Marked for
After you drop it off at the colors, step to the side of what you just dropped. Wait there. Make sure your lines aren't going anywhere through the middle of the room. Shoot your lines away from us, then get sucked through the gaps and meet us in the middle. That one's sketchy.
Boom.
Gozer, Stampeding Roar. Find the line that's red right now, run at it, and then turn it away. Good. Stay out there. Make sure your lines aren't coming through the middle of the raid. And then meet us in the back afterwards. Or meet us in the middle afterwards. I don't know why I said back. Watch out for the suck. Be on that side. Lip Windrush. Find the line that's red. Run it out of the raid. Run at it first, and then run it out of the raid. Good. Sure your lines aren't coming through the mid. More intermission phase. Spread out. Give each other a lot of room here. If you get targeted, use a defensive. If you don't have a defensive, use a health pot. Freaky rally. If you get targeted at all, just use a health pot or a health zone. Like 100%, because you're not going to need it anymore. You could take that res.
I need my submit to the slaughter.
I miss it.
When this boss dies, everybody send a battle res on everybody who's dead. Battle res now. Loot's over here. I lied. It's over there. I am fucking
blow the
sideways.
fuck up. Blow the fuck up.
I am sideways as hell.
Why'd everyone just leave?
Wait, what the hell? Oh, Area 52 died.
Oh, the bluey.
Yep, they're all Area 52. Area 52 blew up.
Dude, their server is so bad. It's crazy.
That server is fucking horrible.
That's kind of a Telegon L, no?
Or is that going to hijack our loot? Gonna hold it hostage?
It shouldn't. They might have passed us before.
I'm me.
Hello. Fucking Area 52. That server's a fucking death field.
I'm gonna bring my druid for this, actually. Just the crests on this.
Got that.
What's up?
The boss was at 51% at 2 minutes. So I was like, oh, I'll just hold these twos. Shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, you could have done it.
Yeah. There were a few more deaths. Lucky.
Did you roll at this?
Yeah. That character's not on the raid.
Oh my god, that'd be.
They're waiting on him for him to roll. No, it's the
it's just offline.
It's there if 2 people. Yeah. W. Maybe can you heal?
Being healed, birds.
W.
Guys, it is fucking 5 p.m. already. What a day.
Happens when the servers come up 5 hours.
Drop a stone. troop, Bill. Oh, we need one more. Why the fuck did it auto?
I mean, I can just let my DH die if it's fun.
Yeah, that's fine. Also explode anyways. Let's get summons.
So you were just going to get a free vault on your character?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
I already have a 6 volt thing, so.
Yo.
You're in TeamSpeak.
I knew that.
That's a vibe.
Everybody help summon.
It's just dual wielding comes.
Yeah, that's all good. Who's Doom in here?
Doom.
Oh, no.
Oh.
All right, we
Could
can
never
go
have guessed
and
who
Danny,
that was gonna
Rory,
be.
Piss Totem, and Yuri Callus all get the record.
Piss totem.
Yeah, I swear pissed out. I'm always this, yeah, man.
Piss Totem goes hard.
It's on Silken Court. If you get
Shit, my
hit
druid
by
kind of comes to clutch out the mob.
the earth kind of rings thing, you just don't get hit if you're a Voker flying. That is fucking sick.
Common Blizzard W.
Oh, wait, no, Danny, Yuri, and Piss Totem. Oh, no, Pissy had it. He just opened his options. All good. Just waiting on Yuri now. All right. If you guys are in Discord and you can hear me, hit no to the ready chat. I'm just waiting on this guy to get the record and then we can go. I'm going to give it 2 more checks.
You want me just log a third guy? That's okay, SB.
It should be fine. At least one time.
The loot's coming.
All right, last check. 13 seconds to get it. Can't take it yet.
One. Oh.
I'll let you know when we're good.
I can just stay on my oligarch.
That'd be shit. Okay, I'm gonna explain the fight real quick. Phase 1, we're gonna hit this beetle. He's gonna leap away. You don't chase him. We're gonna use a defensive there. He's gonna charge back. We got a damage amp on him. In the intermission, I'm gonna mark myself with a skull. You guys are just gonna follow me around the room, and I'll keep you safe. We can play range, right? Yep.
Boom, he's coming on a character, he said.
In phase 2, you guys cannot stand underneath the skinny guy or the middle of the room. You guys cannot stand anywhere near the direct middle of the room. 3 of you are going to get a debuff. Those 3 people are going to go to the direct middle of the room underneath the skinny guy, and we're going to dispel your debuff onto the skinny guy. And then the last phase, I'm going to call for a point where everybody uses everything to live. That means your biggest defensive, your health stone, and your health pot. You have to use all 3. It's going to hurt really bad. We're going to live through that, and the boss explodes. We're going to lose the pull. Let's go summon. And then DK helpers help me grip the ads and underneath the boss. I'll call when they're gonna spawn. All right, here we go. We lost the pull. All right, spread. Here come the ads. DK's get ready to help me grip. Spawning now. Grip them in.
Closing bombs.
They're all marked. Range in our build.
We already have.
Someone's linked with them, or I don't know if someone's in the.
We're good. Everybody use the defensive right now. Hit the skinny guy. Don't chase the beetle. Good. Now hit the beetle. Big damage amp on him. And spread. Make sure you don't stack these. Good.
They're a fucking reason I can't even see my own Luna beam in a raid, by the way.
Oh man,
No
this
reason
frontal.
to.
I don't even do this mechanic on Mythic. What is that?
Yo, DK helpers, help me grip the ads then. Nice. Getting spreads. And he's gonna leap away now. One defensive from all the boys right now.
Bud, come here. Oh, you have one. You guys all have one, yay.
All right, get ready to hit the beetle again. Big damage amp. All right, one more spread here. Maybe a funnel. Maybe it's real. Who knows? It's real randomly.
Real. What the
Good.
fuck?
Get spreads. All right, stack on skull.
Yo, bop me. Bop THC.
Follow skull. Keep you safe. We're gonna go left here.
Thanks, man.
Once it pops.
Yep.
All right, stay on skull. I keep you safe through all of this. Stay here. Go left, and then we're gonna go right after it pops. Boomy? Oh, that's the second guy. All right, stay on skull. Right, and then we're going left after. Dodge coming. Yep, this is real. Stay on skull. Going right here on skull, and then right again after it's spawned. Good. All right. In this phase, the middle of the room is now officially banned. You guys can never stand there. You guys stand on the outside edge and you hit the beetle the entire time. I will call for when you swap to the skinny guy at some point, but not yet. Biggest defensive right now, 3, 2, 1, and then run away. After we run away, DK helpers help me grip. Good, 3 of you are gonna get a debuff. You guys go to the middle of the room underneath the skinny guy. Memory, Kazi main, and Jerry under the middle. Dispel Memory. Dispel Kazi. And dispel Jerry. Now hit the middle guy. Everybody hit the middle guy. Alrighty, good shit. We're gonna have to maybe do that one more time. We might auto phase, who knows? He's getting TP though. Dodge the funnel. And one big defensive in 3, 2, 1, now. And run away. Alright, yeah, we are gonna get these spells, so you guys are gonna do them. DK helpers help me grip. Keep these ads here. Good. 3 of you are gonna get the debuff. You guys are gonna go middle of the room. Boomy go under first. Dispel Boomy. Good. Kazi main and Goop, middle of the room. And dispel Kazi. And yeah, hit the middle guy now. Oh, okay. We phased. That'd be shit. All right, this phase you guys dodge on your own. There's gonna be a bunch of circles. They all keep expanding outwards. So once they pop, they'll expand outwards like that. Just keep dodging. Don't get hit. Keep dodging. Break the spike out underneath the boss.
I was so fixated on like my other guy not being in a spike.
Yeah. All right, new ones. Dodge, 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 dodge. They all keep expanding. All right, W, we're in the last phase. Okay. When the boss spawns, where the fuck is he? Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna run away from this beetle soon. But good shit.
No, get them together.
Does it even matter?
Just fucking kill them.
Oh yeah,
here,
we're fine.
please.
All good.
Yay! I'm good. I'm good. I want to clean.
All right. Dodge the funnel.
I'm good.
Get ready in 3 seconds. 2, 1. Use everything you have. Biggest defensive right now. And get ready. When we get sucked in, you're going to health pot, and you're going to health zone, and you're going to run away. All right. Yep. Do all that shit. Show me we keep. We have another one? Yeah, we do. W type B.
Frontal.
Hey, frontal.
All right, good work, everybody. Thank you guys for helping. What the fuck is all this?
W type. Yes. Make sure you loot the bosses.
Thank you for helping.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. If you're just now tuning in, we are currently still doing heroic splits here at the Race to World First for Team Liquid. My name is Aya. I'm joined here with Dash and Zyronic. Quick shout out, though, to our sponsors, of course, Coinbase, our presenting sponsor, as well as Secret Lab, Monster Energy, Alienware, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and DungeonDojo. Now, Dash, great to have you, obviously.
It's great to be here. Great to be back after getting to join last year. I was hounding people behind the scenes. I was like, please let me back. The one condition was the dog has to come.
Who's not even here? She left.
She's smelling dinner. They're cooking dinner up, so she's off where the good smells are.
That means it's the end of your shift, unfortunately. She leaves, you leave. That's kind of how it works.
It was short-lived, y'all, but she's taking up the spotlight where she deserves to be.
Yeah, she's a star. No food in there.
No,
well, I mean,
it's closing in on her dinner time, so she's, searching, grazing.
Sip of water right here. Wow, yeah. She's just going to inspect the kitchen over there, make sure everything's, tip-top shape.
Absolutely.
At the moment. But
hey,
yeah, we found
yes,
out.
chef. Get in there and help, Azula. It's a little yes, chef action, okay?
Yep. Gotta keep it in line over there near Chef Heidi, even the dogs. But we found out last year that you were a big WoW fan.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up on this game, I think, like a lot of people, and have had my own storied history with the game, falling in and out of it, I think, as a lot of people do as well, right? Where you've got the expansions that really grab you, and then maybe you take a little break. But World of Warcraft is the kind of game that always brings you back. And more than anything, what brings me back is the Race to World First, right? I absolutely adore watching the best of the best do what they do best, right? And the level of access that we have nowadays, which obviously has only grown tier over tier, has been such a treat. And I think in a lot of ways has kind of served, a bit of a revival, for the raiding scene in terms of interest, right? General interest, where you get. It's incredible to me the number of people who I see even in chat as I'm watching go, I don't play WoW, but I watch this race every year, because you're glued to your monitor when you're watching people push themselves to their absolute limits. And I will always enjoy that as somebody who enjoys sports.
Yeah, and there's 24/7 content also. You can flip over to NA, then you can watch EU, so you really don't have to go to sleep. You can just watch WoW for weeks.
I do. I go to bed. I don't know about you guys, but every night after the Liquid stream ends, I just flip on the Echo stream, and I fall asleep to the sounds of Echo, reeling Liquid back in, and then wondering when I wake up, will they be in the lead or will they not be? And I'm sure I sleep a little more soundly than some of the players here who are there actively wondering, how far behind are we going to be, or how far ahead will we still be when the next day comes? And as it stands right now, I think that the Liquid kill on Silken Court last night was hugely important and impactful on the race, because I will admit, when the boss was at about 35% last night, where they kind of plateaued at 35 for a little while, I was sitting there going, I'm not sure if this boss is killable on this reset. I was thinking maybe we see a 10% pull, but maybe that's about where they say, okay, pack it up for the night, and we look for the kill. But once they hit that 9% pull, I was like, oh, actually, this is killable. This is absolutely killable, this reset. And the fact that they were able to do that, not only for the vault loot, which is important, but then for the information, right? And information is key in these races. So the information of being able to go to Queen Ansurek on Mythic and just get some of those numbers that they could start to toy around with and let that shape their plan going into today's reset.
Yeah, not only the numbers, but the classes that are actually going to be good on the fight, especially in phase 1, since that's going to be the fight, the part of the fight that they're actually doing every single pull for all the progression on the encounter. Yeah, I agree. It's a huge thing that they got the boss down last night. And at the end of my last shift yesterday, rather, that was at that 35% mark, right? Yep. And I was thinking, there's really no way they're going to kill this boss today. But of course, they pulled it out, and you could tell last night they were ready to go for a few more hours. I don't know if they were joking, but Max was talking about, we're going until 4 a.m., guys. We're going to kill this boss tonight. We need this information, because that's kind of what Echo would do.
Yeah.
They're putting themselves in their shoes. They're trying to give themselves the best opportunity to win, and they went for it last night. They got there, so it's huge.
Yeah. No, it kind of really made. I feel like towards the end, we're in that moment basically in the Race World First where it really starts becoming the Race World First, and I just love when we have both top guilds and even Method very closely following also as the third, almost going to be pulling on Silken Court at the same time, especially when they wake up. So things are starting to get really competitive and ramping up and becoming really exciting.
Yeah, if you don't mind, let me jump in on that. Absolutely. Because I, so often, and rightfully so, the Race World First is largely talked about as a 2-horse race, right? And maybe there's always kind of an ancillary third that you're itching to put into the discussion, but they're just not quite there. I think that the performance of Method in this race specifically needs to be lauded. While I'm not sure that they've shown us that maybe they're competing for number 1, I think up until literally tonight or last night in EU, they have shown themselves as a competitor for top 2. Just barely missing out on the kill on Silken Court is maybe going to hurt them a little bit. But when you take a look at their progression on a number of the bosses, it mirrors that of the top guilds. They, in large part, were only 1% or 2% behind their other EU counterpart in Echo at most points in the race when it comes to Brood Twister and Kaiveza. And I'm hopeful that that even in this race, they can make it interesting as a 3-horse race. But the way that they've ramped up excites me, if not for this one, for the next tier.
Yeah.
Not only in the pull counts, in the percentages as well, but one of the things you have to think about for a guild to put themselves in that upper echelon of guilds is they have to actually come with the strategies too, right? And when we saw Echo and Liquid both get to Brood Twister, their first thought is there's no way we can 2-tank this boss. But Method started off with the 2 blood decays, which is what Echo and Liquid both ended up adopting to kill the boss. So they're bringing the strategy, they're bringing the thoughts to the boss that will set them up to potentially get to that world first at some point down the line, but don't think they're just quite there just yet.
Yeah, agreed.
Also, apparently they're still raiding for the night.
Wait, what time is it right now?
It's still up.
It's
according to chat. Yeah, I don't know. Should I Google? Let me.
I was going to say, hit us with the. Also, actually, just another side note, and I know they're one of our partners, Warcraft Logs, and the interface. I mean, Warcraft Logs has always been an incredible tool, but the interface for the Race to World First, just being able to click follow the race and get a quick overview of the top 20 guilds. To your point about compositions. As I'm watching the race and I can't watch 14 different streams at one time, to be able to quickly go there and say, let me just get a sense of what everyone's doing. Okay, the EU guilds are still running AUGs, for example, on Kaiveza. They were running AUGs, we were running 3 devs. That was an interesting adjustment for me and a difference between the 2 guilds. And then even more specifically to your point, that Brood Twister comp. When you go and you look at that and you go, wait, hold on. The top guilds are now emulating the guild that's just underneath them. That's pretty special.
Yeah, definitely. Also, it is 2 a.m. there. So it's kind of normal gamer hours, but then you also have to take in the fact that their reset starts at 5 a.m. local time.
In 3 hours.
So, yeah, very soon. And I imagine they're not going to go home and sleep for an hour and keep going. So, I mean, it's a choice. I think they're about a little bit over 1%. So I can understand why they're extending, but I do worry for them a little bit because there's a lot that they could be missing out on if they don't get down Silken Court before that reset.
That's exactly it, right? I think that's the only reason why you can justify extending. Number 1 is because at this point you're in any pull is a kill range.
Yeah.
And then number 2, like we talked about, that extra bit of vault, opening up the loot table of court into your vault, and that extra item level item levels that you get from the kill tonight before the reset could be really, really impactful to your chances at getting back in that conversation. Whether or not we think it'll happen is a moot point to their justification for continuing to go.
I hope it does. To your point, the gap between, because we know that it's kind of Echo and then Liquid and then Method has been just closing that gap, and this year they're right there. And if I would love to see them get that down tonight, and then of course they've got the reset tomorrow, so they kind of get to watch Echo and Liquid sort of do their thing a little bit. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal if they slept in a little bit tomorrow. Didn't start immediately at 5. They could catch up for sure.
Yeah.
Especially with the way they've been playing this tier.
Oh, absolutely. Another thing I'm genuinely curious about, which we're not going to have the answer to unless we have an opportunity to talk to some of the players in a bit. From a viewer perspective, as I was actually driving up here, but I had the stream on my phone. Just audio. I'm just listening.
Yep.
But I'm listening I was listening to Max's perspective during the portion where they're all opening their vaults.
Yep.
I feel like the vault loot for Liquid was really solid today.
Hype.
But I'm curious if they agree. But a number of weapons, possible weapons, or like completing the offhand set. Some good trinkets, some of those rare items. So I'm curious how they feel, just generally coming out of their loot luck. And then, of course, all these heroic splits, which feel like they've missed a few more of the loot, of the items they're hunting for in the heroic splits today.
Yeah, their Anthrax didn't go too well. They got a couple rings, but they weren't really looking for too much outside of that. We've seen them in the past couple of hours here go back to Sikran and Rashanan to try to get some very rare items there, the cloak and the neck.
Right.
I'm not sure what their luck was there or how many of those they're planning on doing. We just now saw them doing heroic Silken Court as well, probably looking for a normal to heroic Spy Masters upgrade for somebody. All of these individual item level upgrades are not that big of a deal for the one person, but in the grand scheme of things, if you can get one extra piece of loot, that's just a normal to heroic upgrade for somebody on everybody in the raid, that then becomes a pretty big deal. Now you can see we're doing more Silken Courts here. Any good loot off of this one? Don't think I see any Spy Masters.
No
that's
Spy Masters.
The main thing they're looking for here. It's going to be that Spy Masters. THG actually got a Mythic Spy Masters out of his cache.
See, there you go. That's what we're hunting. That's what we're hunting for right there.
Yeah, a lot of woos, a lot of woohoos when they were opening their boxes. So I think it's safe to say they were excited as well. So Dash, do you want to eat a bug?
Do I want to eat a bug?
Yeah, we've got some leftover bugs.
When it comes to wanting to, no, not particularly.
Okay. All right.
I mean, if I had to, I could probably make it work. I did get a peek at the bug options, and I think I've narrowed down to which one I would choose.
Yeah. Which one did you?
I think I'd go ants.
Oh. Do we have ants?
There was ants, like a little mini scorpion or something.
Yeah, I think they're right next to you, aren't they?
Yeah. There was like ants, like a little mini scorpion thing, and then like a larva thing. But I think I would go with the ants.
I think that's fair. They're small. Oh, Azula wants them apparently.
Azula wants the ants. Azula, come here.
Azula, those are not for you, ma'am. She's really doing it.
You behaving yourself? Okay, as long as she's behaving. That's all that matters. Yeah, so we've got here's 2 of them. This is scorpion-looking thing.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
It might say on the back, actually. I didn't even look. Oh, this is a worm. Even worse. I'm definitely not doing worm. I'm also not a huge blueberry fan, which is blueberry worm.
Oh my god, it's like a mealworm.
Also, I'm pretty sure these are way worse than what we did last night. Last night we just did crickets, like flavored crickets, iced crickets. Those are fine.
Yeah, this
you just crunch them and they're gone.
Yeah, half the countries in the world, that would just be something you have for a snack.
Yeah, totally normal. Just not here. Not really quite accustomed to it. But yeah, we've got a scorpion and a worm.
These are like a ticking time bomb. You're having a nice little.
I know, just getting closer and closer to unwrapping one of those. Like, this weird worm.
Spiky. What's happening here? Yeah, the crickets weren't too bad, but. No, if you're wondering what we're talking about, we are currently, alongside the Race World First, of course, raising money for the Santa Monica Animal Shelter, a great organization. teal.gg/RWF-donate. Don't worry, you're off the hook. You don't have to eat bugs. We already did that. But we do have some more incentives that we are trying to clear. The next one being, oh my gosh, I forget. What is it? Zyro, help me. What's the next one? We're almost at $20,000, which is the next one, but I
Oh, what's the reward for it?
They're going to show us. Production can help us.
There we go.
Talked too quickly. I threw that one in.
How does that work?
But yeah, date with Zalatath. Oh, we're not going to reveal our.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you're going to have to.
This got changed.
Hit the goal, then you find out.
For that one.
This used to be like a visit from Zalatath, and then we changed it to a date with Zalatath.
Ooh, things are heating up.
Right?
Things are getting spicy at the Race to World First.
Yeah. Yep. Surprise! It's actually we're going to have to get that now, and then maybe you could find out. You're gonna
I believe in chat's ability to dunk the 20K mark.
Yeah. I don't know where they were in their donations in the last segment, if they shouted any of these out, but I did notice that Max's parents donated.
What?
Tiltify. Mom and Dad Smith are proud of the entire Liquid team. $100 from them.
Mama and Papa Maximum.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you.
That one is not up for adoption.
No.
Okay?
No.
That one's mine. You can't have that one, but you can have any of the others.
But she does.
And I heard that you so graciously offered to cover adoption fees.
Yeah, any of our fans during the Race World First that want to adopt any of the animals from the Santa Monica Animal Shelter, I would like to cover the adoption fees. And Makes also wants to buy some toys for any of those animals that do come home. So
going home all set up.
Yeah.
If I had space, I'd get another. I just don't have space.
Totally fair. California is, there's a reason there's a lot of dogs in the shelters, because it's hard to find them.
75 pounds of golden retrievers, plenty.
Yeah. We feature every morning. We've been featuring an adoptable dog, and this morning it was a Dogo Argentino. Those are big. I know. They're a breed. They're a real breed. They're big boys.
Oof.
They're big boys.
Oh, big dogs are the best.
They
Has
really
Simba been
are.
adopted yet?
Huh?
Has Simba been adopted yet?
I'd assume I would have heard about it had Simba been adopted. But if you would like to check out Simba, we had a dog visit a couple days ago from them. They brought in with the handlers. His name was Simba. But teal.gg/adopt if you'd like to check out the adoptable animals from the shelter. But, alongside finding homes, financial donations are also very important, because they do trap neuter release programs. They cover medical costs. They help, improve the facility itself. So a lot of things are going towards this organization, not only finding homes, but, lots of other supplementary stuff as well.
Absolutely. Every bit counts, and we appreciate every penny that's come through so far, hoping we can still hit that 20 and then 25K goal and even surpass it before Mythic, Queen, and Sarek goes down. Now, speaking of, I'm curious if either of you have any inklings as to when or what day and what time Mythic and Sarek will go down. Now that we are in the second reset, given just that very little bit of data and couple bits or a couple polls that we've seen, obviously Liquid was pulling off stream, but those who are watching Echo would have seen their initial few polls to get a sense of how the first phase works. But do we think that this is going to be a boss that takes 2, 3, 4 days to go down?
This is actually reminding me a lot of Mythic Sarkareth.
Okay.
In terms of the length of the encounter and the difficulty of the mechanics, I could see this boss dying in 3 days.
Yeah.
3 or 4 days. I'm going to say Thursday night would be my guess.
For selfish reasons, I'm also going to say Thursday night. Because I
you
trust
have something
your
to
opinion.
do on Friday?
Yeah, I've got another World of Warcraft show that is kind of tends to cross over. So Thursday night would be great. I'd love that.
You get a pass because it's in the WoW universe.
Exactly.
But,
yeah. If it was another game, I think I would get some flame and chat. But no, Thursday would be cool, which is definitely a lot different than I think where a lot of people initially thought that it was going to end. Do you have any takes, Dash? Do you think?
Well, what's actually really funny, and I may have said it on my stream somewhere because I was going to go, there's no proof of this. I actually was saying going into week 1 of the race that I thought it was a Thursday week 2 kill. But a lot of that came from, honestly, the fact that Heroic Week existed, which I think removes a lot of the uncertainty about how much time will be spent out of the raid. Yes, they're still having to do splits and spend some time, to gear and ramp up their characters, but largely that gave me the idea that they're going to put the majority of their focus and time once Mythic comes through on specifically that raid. And then, of course, with the first 4 bosses falling over as quickly as they did, I just had a hard time believing that 4 bosses would take, more than a week and a half to go. Now, when Kaiveza came around, that's when I started rethinking my own prediction. And I think, like many people, I was like, well, now are we going to a 3rd reset? If Kaiveza's not killable till the 2nd reset, immediately started reconsidering that initial prediction. But being able to get over that hurdle And then, as we talked about, maybe 15 minutes ago, the importance of that Silken Court kill last night made me think, okay, yeah, we're back into that 3-day kill window for the final boss. Whatever hours they spend on it tonight, and then 2 full days, Wednesday, Thursday.
Looks like we got a bit of a treat here, actually. We're back in Mythic. We're done with splits. Clearing trash to go to Mythic Brood Twister, so we get to look at the loot they get from these bosses, see how long it'll take them to actually re-clear them.
So we hit the lottery.
Hopefully quick.
Now, I had asked you the question before we hopped on the couch about whether or not they might make comp changes from their initial Brood Twister composition, because obviously it was very DK heavy. But as soon as you get past Brood Twister, we're getting rid of a lot of those DKs. For at least the blood DKs, that is, right? We had some DKs come back in for Court. My vision is so poor here. Can you tell me? Because your idea was, we have a monitor right down here. Don't worry, I've done this for a living for a long time. But you had mentioned to me that you would expect, if possible, they go in with their Ansarek kill comp, because you'd want all people in. So if they believe Brood Twister's killable with their Ansarek kill comp, they would go in with that as opposed to their original Brood Twister composition. And to that end, we should mention to people who may not be aware, there was a nerf to Brood Twister specifically between Phase 1 and Phase 2. Each of the adds within the fight got a pretty substantial health nerf. The majority of them sitting somewhere around 20%. It was like 21% for one, 18% for another. And I think that will change, a lot for a lot of the mid-tier guilds. Obviously, Liquid with the new item levels is probably going to smash through it regardless of whether or not those nerfs came through, but it should pretty much guarantee that we get through it in far fewer pulls on our re-clear.
Yeah, I think looking at this raid, if you are able to get all 3 of these bosses down in less than 10 pulls each, you're extremely happy. Obviously, Brood Twister should be a one-shot.
Yeah.
But the other 2, I mean, Nexus Princess Kavesa could easily be up to 50 if they just don't have a clean pull. Hopefully it's not that many.
But you know what? Yeah, I would generally expect Brood Twister to be the one shot. The one thing I can see is randomly an assignment misses an egg break, right? And then we can't recover from where the egg that was missed was for the enrage of the ground creeping in. But outside of that, I don't see many reasons why they would wipe here on Brood Twister. Now just over-indexing on the AoE damage. The boss damage check in terms of the soft enrage of the ground creeping in probably shouldn't even be a consideration. They'll kill it well before anyone's really leaping into the bad to sacrifice themselves. Kavesa, I think that one I'm curious about just because, from my perspective, I think item level and player skill of these top guilds is going to trivialize that fight.
Yeah, 100%. Now, as I'm looking at them clear the trash, I did see that they cleared the trash to Kavesa first, and now we're going down to Brood Twister. This might just be another BOE clear.
We got baited.
Might have got tricked.
Well, we'll still hold out hope here. We'll still hold out hope. But regardless, even if it is just another trash clear, I mean, again, it speaks to the closeness of this race and how every little advantage could make the difference in the end between a world first and a world second. And it is much better to invest the time now in making sure you get that last 0.1 of an item level, averaged across the raid, than to get halfway through your prog on Queen Ansarek and then realize, we're under-geared. Let's divorce from our prog. Let's go spend hours doing, something else, only to come back. This looks like maybe we are.
Maybe we are. The health stones are down. We're actually sitting in the raid now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going for it.
We'll get some content. Okay.
Yep.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
This would be a very long-lived troll if they didn't now poured out of the raiding.
That would actually be so mean. They throw out the soul stone, full raid buffs, they drop a feast, and then they just mage portal.
They're not above it.
Yeah, right?
Do something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you're just now tuning in, we're heading back into Mythic. Done quite a bit of optimization this morning, some BOE farming, some splits. Now we are back into Mythic Reclear. Yes, it is a Reclear. We are not extending. We did not extend our lockout. That is a question we have got to stop asking as a community. It's never happening again.
It's been how many years?
Several, Dash. Many.
Was 6 years ago.
Yeah,
Please
what?
stop asking. It's like a shot straight through my heart every time I see the question.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You're triggering Zyro up here, guy. He kind of just like his eyes roll back and he goes blank for a little bit every time that gets read out in chat. Stop doing it.
It's okay. It's in the past.
Yeah. You've had time to recover.
I'm good. We probably wouldn't be here if we won that race, to be honest with you. Method might have been scared into not doing another Race to World First event ever again.
You're right.
Oh.
So we'll take it.
Well,
yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the employment. I appreciate it. I owe my career to that, apparently. Yeah. To that decision. Okay, well, we're poking along. There's a lock closet out. We're getting our lock cookies.
This is a very technical fight in terms of just the overall choreography, right, for the entire raid, with getting the assignments for which of the 4 eggs. Remember, 8 people are going to be chosen. We need 2 of those circles per egg that is looking to be broken at any given moment. So I believe it's Fired Up, if I can remember correctly, who's responsible within the fight for dropping world markers.
They do it a little differently. They do 4 people each individually drop 1 marker. It'd be a lot of work for one person.
Oh, okay, okay. So, okay.
That was the point I was going to make next. It's also a huge individual responsibility fight.
Yeah.
Because they have a lot of players dropping those world markers. They need to make sure they do it every single set of egg breaks for all 9 of them in the fight. And then not only that, but once they've broken the eggs, they also have individual people focus marking and kicking the worms that spawn.
Yep.
So if any of those marks don't go off, could result in a missed kick, which is one of the main things that'll wipe people.
Right, as well as Typhoon and Evoker Nox leading to the grips. Okay, we did go back, it looks like, to all 4 DKs.
Okay.
Looking at the composition here.
Fantastic.
So I think the necessity of the grips for the ads is probably hugely important here.
Oh, yeah.
As well as maybe the consistency of the composition from week to week and saying, hey, look, let's not put ourselves in a position whereby changing the composition, we end up missing something and having to reprog part of the fight, you know?
I think the only thing you're missing out on here by swapping onto your blood DKs and then bringing 2 other classes in for them to cover the raid buffs is the potential for loot for your tanks. If a leather piece drops and Shakib can't use it on the Demon Hunter, then it pretty well, no, I guess the Rogue could use it too. I don't know. It's a little scary, but as long as the loot's allocated to somebody else, it's okay to do, because you really don't want to be gearing the tanks.
Right.
They don't need that much loot to stay alive unless it's a ridiculous fight like Havisa, so I think it should be okay. Yeah, you just want to get this down as quickly as possible to get to the harder fights, so then you can start putting time and pulls into Ansarek.
Without a doubt. Now, to that end, I think that this just brings up, while we're still waiting for them to dive into this poll, something that, again, from the viewer perspective, that's been really cool to watch, has been the class and spec diversity within the race.
Oh, yeah.
There's a separate discussion about class stacking, whether or not people like it or don't. I actually personally do like it from a Race to World First perspective. I can see how it's problematic for guilds who sit below that level and don't have access to, well, we can't just field 4 DKs, you know, that maybe our roster doesn't support that. But at the race level, it is so fascinating to watch that strategy unfold, right? For the guild to come up against a hurdle on a boss and say, the way we overcome this is to stack this specific class for this boss. And then the next one, they completely go the other direction, right? You know, by ditching, you know, all of one class and bringing in another. And I've really appreciated the diversity in classes and specs in this tier specifically.
And to have players with the skill to be able to multi-class like that as well. It's also hard to field. Not just 4 DKs, but 4 DKs that could also hop onto another character and probably play it within the same level or relatively close to that. Yeah. TG look a little EP.
And usually you'll have a big enough, you know, roster of raiders to where you can swap between raiders who are gearing different characters up to make that happen. But their roster size is actually really small this year tier. I think they're on 27 raiders on their roster.
Okay.
Which might sound big if you're, you know, in a casual guild with just a squad of 20 people that all play all the time. But usually the roster for Liquid is somewhere in the realm of like 32, 33. So running lean at 27 is kind of scary. You have to make sure you have all your bases covered. And so far, I think they've done a good job of that. They've pretty much had the best comp for every fight so far. So hasn't really been a problem for them.
Alrighty, away we go. First poll here on the re-clear for Brood Twister. hopefully a one-shot, as we do expect. Important to note that this arena is divided into 3 pizza slices, as I'll refer to them. Now, the raid itself does get to dictate which of the pizza slices the boss goes to in each of their phases. And from that point of view, he goes to the jar, activates that side, and then it's up to them to do 3 sets of egg breaks per pizza slice, doing 4 eggs at a time, so 12 total per pizza slice. Gripping in all the ads, knocking in all the ads, keeping the interrupts up, while, of course, cleaving down the boss and resetting for that next group of ads. Once one pizza slice is dealt with, once again, they get to dictate which pizza slice the boss will go to next by positioning the boss closest to the pizza slice they want to go to next. And we even saw in their initial world first kill the tech of putting the boss close enough to dictate which pizza slice we'd go into, but far enough that we maximize our damage in the travel time to the next jar. And again, just looking for every ounce of damage. They shouldn't have to do that as much this time around on the re-clear, but second set of ads, perfect egg breaks, there go the grips, and now it's going to be tons of AoE CC, dumping all that damage and looking for those kick assignments on those worms that you were talking about there. As ironic, you can see that that 3, 4, those are the assignments. They're looking for individual kicks to make sure none of the worm casts get off.
And of course, we're trying to make sure all this time we don't want to let those worms infest anybody, right? And
oh god, the infest is just
a lot
absurd.
of damage, spawns 2 more worms, which are of course no longer in the AoE, causing a lot of problems. But right, of course, the main crux on Mythic is that in each of these 3 slices, there's an empowered egg, right? And you can choose throughout the fight which order you want to do the empowers in. Once you empower that type of ad, they're empowered for the rest of the fight. They gain 50% HP, gain a couple other nasty mechanics. The parasites are faster. The spiders do necrotic damage to the tank, which makes them harder to be healed, and the worms cast 100% faster. So they leave the worms for last. They do the parasites first, because when you're AoEing these ads down, who cares if you overkill them? Just do more damage to them. Also, that 20% nerf you were talking about earlier.
Right.
Making this fight pretty easy for them. Those parasites are going down quick, much quicker than during progression.
Absolutely melting this boss at the moment. So again, I think in this case it's going to be much more about just executing on the mechanics and the consistency, right? One missed egg, unfortunately, could spell disaster for them as that blue and black ground creeps in from the sides. If they are to miss an egg, and you know, the bat on the ground reaches it, that's where the egg will spawn and ultra empower whatever ad comes out of the egg. So there we have the reposition while still electing which jar and which pizza slice the boss will go to next. We're maximizing that travel time to the jar just to make sure every ounce of damage comes through, making sure that therefore the enrage won't be an issue. I don't think it would be an issue either way, but hey, we're playing at the highest level here. We leave nothing to chance.
Now, to point this out, at the end of this ingest Black Blood cast and progression, their best ever push percentage was 69%. It's at 62.
Right, yeah. 62,
We're a little
63.
bit stronger now than they were last week.
We're doing all right. We're doing all right.
But there's still a lot of one-shot mechanics you have to worry about, right? If a tank is ever too low for the volatile concoction, they could explode for way too much damage on top of all of the other damage already going out on the raid. So have to make sure our tanks are topped whenever that debuff expires. Also the worm casts, man, they're still difficult to do, especially on those triple worm sets near the end of the fight. Pretty much no room to miss a kick at all. One of those goes off, it could easily spell disaster, so we're going to be looking forward to that. I think that's the main part of the fight that they have a chance to wipe to, but they save the Bloodlust for that too, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep, so far so good. That's first egg breaks on the second pizza slice, repositioning here. For the second egg break on the second pizza slice, we got the webs out. That's a pretty easy mechanic. There go the assignments. Everybody making their way to their chosen mark. New ad phase, we get the knock in. Things are looking clean so far.
This is the first of those triple worm sets here. Of course, these ones aren't empowered. They cast pretty slowly, so just got to make sure we get our 3-person rotation on them. The lockouts still work. Counterspell still a 6-second lockout, just like it is in PvP, so as long as they're able to get those kicks, they'll be fine. And looks like just one worm left, and chilling.
Were they Curse of Tonguesing on the third slice when they are empowered in order to slow those casts back down?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
THD would not let a mob go uncursed, I guarantee you. He's got a giant Wiko around the middle of his screen that says target uncursed.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Where were the most deaths happening before reset, would you say, Zyro?
So there were 2 parts of the fight that they had an issue with. Number 1 is this part of the fight. Very little room in the room. The circles to spawn the eggs are coming out in addition to the webs coming out at almost the exact same time. So pretty much everyone has to deal with the mechanic. Healers are really stressed for healing at that time, but looks like it wasn't that much of an issue for them here. There's also 3 of those empowered spiders just wailing on the tanks right now. Even though those spiders' HP were nerfed today,
they still hit hard.
They still hit really hard. They didn't nerf their damage. So yeah, got to keep an eye on the tanks here. You can see one of them dropping very low there, but as a blood DK, pretty easily able to top themselves.
Life of a blood DK.
Oh yeah.
Now you had called out that 69% mark, and I'm gonna go from memory here, but going to the 3rd jar, I'm not sure they ever went below 40%.
No.
On their prog either. So already, we haven't even moved to the final pizza slice. That movement is happening now, and we're hitting 38%. So the numbers are there. We just need the cleanliness of this final 3 sets of egg breaks, and the boss goes down.
See, the marker's already out for the ad breaks afterwards. Just got to make sure we get there. And of course, in this final phase, every single ad is empowered. Everything has 50% more HP. Everything has their nasty extra mythic mechanic added on. Okay, here come the eggs breaks. Oh, those. Okay, the circle was scary, but they got there. And then, of course, 3 empowered worms. Extremely fast kicks. This is like the main prog point for them. This is why they saved the Bloodlust for this spot. This is the hardest egg break in the entire fight. 1 worm already dead. Okay, that makes things a lot easier. Looks like the kicks are good for them, though. They're chilling.
Looking fantastic. There goes the 2nd one down. Now we're dragging the boss over to the 3rd and final in this set of eggs. Looking at that 5th kick marker. Quick kicks like you're talking about. Not leaving anything to that last second. Just get the kicks out. The ads will go down. And now we reposition once again for this next set of egg breaks. 2 sets to go. Boss at 22%. I mean, honestly, they might kill the boss during the final set of eggs at this point.
I mean, the big thing about this fight on progression was dealing with the ad sets as quickly as possible, so you would actually have some downtime to just hit the boss. They've had that between every single egg set on this first pull here, and that was something they didn't have during progression at all. First death of the fight on Trill, on the Windwalker Monk. He hasn't been playing that much recently. He's been focusing on PvP, actually, for AWC this weekend, so...
Yeah. Oh, I felt it for Trill when he came in for Kaiveza, who we'll be going to next, right? I mean, they were already maybe 100 pulls deep into Kaiveza, and I just can't imagine what that's like as a player. While, again, we all know how incredibly skilled all of them are, to come in at this level, but being that many pulls behind everybody else, just in terms of, you know, feeling the fight out. That's pressure that I don't really ever want to experience, but I can so appreciate, again, the skill level of these players, that they can come in having watched it, of course, over the shoulders of everybody else, and still seamlessly, you know, in a lot of ways, you know, work their way into the strategy for any given boss.
Dude, Trill built Diffie.
For real.
He even has been playing, I mean, he's been practicing, obviously, for AWC, and I know one of the nights, I think it may even been after the kill for Princess Kaiveza, he got all the way to 2,503. It's just a quick, you know, quick run to 2,500 with his arena buddies. Yeah, quick.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Little jaunt in the ladder.
That's the final dealt with.
There it is.
And the boss is probably going to die before the room is even filled here.
I was going to say,
textbook from them.
All right, at this point, as soon as that final worm goes down, they may reposition the boss. They will do it just to this final triangle of space here that the Raiders have in order to get the boss down, but under 4% already, 9 minutes on that encounter timer, and Brood Twister looks to go down in pretty clean fashion. Just that 1 death, still with a battle res to spare, but they're not even going to have to be in the position they were when they got the kill the first time, where essentially people are sacking themselves into the bad, you know, with those webs, just to make sure that they don't int the rest of the raid. Brood Twister goes down. We got another syringe. I'm trying to see if there's any big loot.
I don't think there's any super important very rares that drop from this boss. What was the tier piece that we got? Is that Mythic? Mystic?
The Mystic, yeah, Mystic effigy.
Could be another fired up piece there.
Yep.
Gear up that already insanely geared mage. He did top the boss damage there too. Atlas is checking that. Yeah.
He gets PI, so it's really...
That's really good. I mean, this is a boss that there are individual mistakes we talked about already. That could wipe you, so it's good to see that they still flexing the muscles, getting the one shot down.
I mean, just the idea that this was a 120 pull boss last week,
right?
And now it's a 1 pull boss for them. I mean, that alone has to feel good and energizing. Now you're staring down your 300 plus pull world first kill on Kaiveza.
I'm a little nervous about it.
All right.
This one could take a while. It could also be super quick.
Over under. Let's do it.
Okay.
You first. I'm not going first.
What's my number?
Yeah. We could also say it on the count of 3 simultaneously.
I have a conditional prediction, though.
That's cheating.
My condition is whether they 1 or 2 tank it.
Fair. Okay.
Because I think if they 1 tank it, I'm actually gonna set the line higher. Funnily enough.
Interesting.
Because the 1 tank, in my opinion, has less margin for error. Right? At a certain point, if DPS just start dying, you ruin the strat because you need at least some of those reses for the tank itself. Now, granted, their item level, the gear that they have at this point, just might make it so that they don't have those errant deaths. You know, random Queensbane ticks someone down to 9.9 last week. Now it only ticks them down to 10.5 and they live. Okay, fine. But I would actually say it takes them more than 1 pull if they stick with the 1 tank. But I think their gear and damage output is good enough now, they could go back to a more consistent, quote-unquote, 2 tank strat, where it's okay now if a DPS dies. It's not ideal, but if a DPS dies, because we can spend our battle reses on those DPS because we don't necessarily need to reserve them for the tank. And in that case, I think that they just kind of skate through.
Okay. Those are great points. I kind of would like to see if they're 1 or 2 tanking also. Are they keeping Trill in the fight? Let's see. That would be a good indicator.
That's a good indicator, right.
1 or 2 tanking. Trill's still in the top 20 right now. See him in group 2
yeah,
there. So
yeah.
They might be going for the 1 tank yet again.
Are they also going straight to Princess Kaiveza? Are they going to pull, or are they going to go back to? Yeah, I guess you're right. I see the stuff.
I see no reason not to keep going once you've killed the first boss, because part of the reason they stopped at 4 of 8 is because that's when the most trash is available for you to BOE farm. Once you've killed Brood Twister, the trash leading to Brood Twister no longer spawns, so you're depriving yourself of half of the trash that drops BOEs. Keep going now. Kill the rest of the bosses. There's no reason to leave them up anymore. They can still go juice up and do the rest of their heroic splits afterwards if they really feel like they need to. But
I also wonder, like, have they sent all their crest upgrades yet? Have they, because again, with these couple bosses still to go down, they might say, hey, don't send your crest upgrades. There might be a couple, mythic upgrades still coming in for some people. So it's really hard to know if they're even kind of at their maximum power level right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is also a Spark week too. Hi, Sammy.
Hey, Sammy.
Visited by. She wants up.
You can come on up.
Yeah.
My dog might get jealous.
Oh no.
Well, we'll see. Oh my goodness! If Azula sees you sitting next to me like this, we might have a problem.
Uh-oh, here she comes.
Yeah, it's also a Spark week, so you could craft another 636 item with your Spark that costs 90 gilded crests. I'm not sure if that would be better than upgrading for some of the players, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure
what they
either.
End up doing.
But that's, again, speaks to just one of the other incredible things about the development of the World First Race, right? The amount of support that these teams have.
Right.
Where, luckily for a lot of these players, they also don't have to figure out what is best for them, right? There's some really incredibly intelligent people behind the scenes who are saying, okay, we've done the math. This is your best upgrade. This is the way you get the most damage, and the most damage for the fight that we're looking to prog, right? Because your decisions can change. What?
They've got like the Bubba button. I don't know what it is.
Right.
But they send all their data to Bubba.
Yeah, when the race is over, can I get that button for my vault? When I get the vault, can I send my data to Bubba and he tells me what to choose?
Right? I would love all the analysts.
I need that.
In that gang just to tell me exactly. I don't like making choices. I just want to press my buttons.
No.
That's why I play DPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
What class do you play, by the way?
I'm all over the place right now.
Okay.
So I would say historically I'm a healer main. I started playing day 1 vanilla all the way back. I was in 7th grade at the time.
Oh. Careful.
And I played Holy Paladin for 15 years, like for most of my WoW career. But it was BFA, Nyalotha. A friend and I came back after a little hiatus, and we just joined some random Mythic raiding guild. They needed a Shadow Priest, so I said, I guess I'll learn how to play Shadow Priest. He played Resto Druid, and I was just like, okay, I'll learn how to play Shadow Priest. Played that for Nyalotha. And then after that, I played Resto. I swapped to Resto Druid, and joined a friend's Mythic guild that was progging in Nathria.
Oh.
And they needed a couple people to fill, but they did not need a healer. They needed a DPS. So I swapped to Boomkin.
Oh, okay.
And I played good old Venthyr Boomkin, where you get your 30-second window of doing the most damage in the raid, and then you slowly fall back below the tanks. And that was what I did all through Nathria. Unfortunately, we missed CE by like we wiped 0.3% on Sire and didn't. I would have been, if Max was doing those Race to World Last viewing streams, well, it probably would have been my guild that he's watching.
No.
And unfortunately, we missed it that year. But I was Boomkin for a little bit. Anyway, nowadays, I would say Prot Warrior is my main.
Okay,
It's kind of crazy.
You really have been all over. All right.
And then I'm playing Mage and Shadow Priest behind that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Good choices.
Yeah. I'm playing a lot more casually nowadays, though, so that's where I don't feel the need to like specialize and like really know one class super well. I'm more of a Mythic Plus enjoyer now, and then I get my raid enjoyment by watching the Race to World first and going, yeah, I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah. They should definitely do it this way, though, instead. Maybe, have they thought about that?
Doing what?
I don't know. I'm just doing like a chatting thing where they're, trying to backseat some of the Race World First Raiders. But in other news, also, Method is on I believe their last poll of the night. I've been kind of tuning in.
Oh my God!
Can
you imagine?
No, honestly, I really genuinely did want them to get the.
I want them to get it right now. I'm rooting for them to get this kill right now. But I just have so much respect for the tenacity of those players to be awake right now, pushing for that kill because. Again, what it represents and how important it would be to them still being a horse in this race, right?
Yeah.
I think if they were to get the kill right now, I would maybe start to reinsert them as a dark horse, a long shot for sure. But I think if they don't get it tonight, then I would say, all right, it really does feel like it's Echo Liquid at this point, and we'll see Method next year.
I think they literally ran out of time because it's 2:50 a.m. there.
Right, the server's got to go down at some point.
Yeah. So
and they got to get to bed.
And they got to get to bed, exactly. It's sleepy time for them for sure. So it's very unfortunate. I mean, do you want to like highlight Zyro? Just kind of expand like how detrimental do you feel like this is for Method if they're not able to get this on their poll?
I think at this point it might be more mental as a detriment. Obviously, it'd be really nice to get the loot from the boss. Those 4 pieces. There are extremely important pieces that drop from the boss that you could get in your Great Vault next week. It might also be like the 6th slot for some of the characters too, which would unlock the 3rd tier of the Mythic Great Vault, which would be another chance at a really good piece. But really just going that late in the morning and not being able to get a boss kill that your 2 closest competitors have also gotten.
Yeah.
Especially in a tier where you've kept it a 3-horse race for a long time. It's got to feel pretty bad for them. I mean, the race isn't over yet, but this is a pretty big downswing for them.
They've pulled ahead of Echo several times. They've been in that 2nd place position, and while being on the same schedule, essentially, as Echo. So they've had the best tier that we've seen since probably Nyalotha for these guys. I mean, they're just playing out of their minds, and it's unfortunate that, like, when it really counted, it seems like they're not able to pull it together. They're still at 40% for this last pull of the night, I assume.
Everyone alive?
Everyone is alive. They've got a battle res. They've got Lust as well. I mean, they're looking okay.
Look, the thing about Court, right? I mean, I know that they've had a 1% pull, so obviously they've got it in kill range. But the thing about Court is, like we were saying, it went from being unbelievably killed, like sitting at 35, kind of being like from the viewer perspective, going like, this doesn't look possible. To as soon as someone gets it below 10, you're like, oh, this is absolutely doable. And so. Perfect pull, and that's all you're looking for. You're just looking for the perfect pull. It is a huge choreography fight, right? And I think that's the big thing about it, that once you find that consistency as a raid team, where you're kind of moving as generally two cohesive units, like it's an interesting dance of a fight. And I do wonder what it's like as a player, this fight, how it feels to kind of be in those 2 separate entities, but still having to work together. Yeah. Like it's an interesting dynamic that they've created with this Silken Court fight. Yeah, Uh-oh.
Sorry. First one of the 2 weeks for me there. Yeah, it's actually a really interesting fight, and it's part of the reason a lot of people thought it was going to be one of the hardest fights they've ever made. Turns out it was tuned like really well. I mean, I memed and said it was 999 pulls because I thought it was just going to be a fight that was a buggy mess, but credit to Blizzard, it was a very, very, very interesting fight, and the Mythic mechanic, although not as hard as we thought it was initially going to be, it's still extremely unique in terms of WoW encounters that we've seen in the past 10 years. We really haven't had anything like it, and that's really hard for them to do nowadays. A lot of fights they come up with are kind of just mashups of other fights they've done throughout the years. And this is really cool what they've done with this fight.
I think the thing about the Mythic mechanic on this fight is that it's... Well, you could maybe say this about every mechanic, so maybe I'm defeating my own point here. But before I even say it, but it feels like one of those mechanics that the top tier guilds, once they find a strategy for it, they aren't going to struggle with it too much, right? Because of how well thought out those strategies are, because of how well disciplined the players are, which I think is actually one of the major things that maybe we don't talk about enough, is that the discipline of these players to stick to the given strategy, their assignments in the arena at any one moment, pull after pull. It's so easy to get lazy. We all know this. You're doing your heroic re-clear, even if you're not a Mythic Raider. When you're, once you've done a fight or you feel like you're 12 pulls into something, you start letting things slip. Oh, I'll just stand here instead of stand here. Oh, I'll try and greed this cast instead of not greed this cast and dodge the mechanic. These guys have to stick to those plans. But when they do, the plan is so good that it makes the mechanic not look so difficult. But I bet you, you take a World 500th guild, even if you gave them the same blueprint that Liquid had, it's not going to look nearly as clean, right? Finding that consistency is going to be very difficult.
What happened, Aya?
Wiped at 2.98.
Oh, 2.98.
They've got time for like
Oh, that's like a gimme at that point. Blizzard, just mulligan. Give it, gimme.
Man.
3%er.
Oh, that sucks.
Are their servers actually like hard going down at 3?
Maybe.
Or can they pull again? How could you not pull again?
I would pull again.
Send it. Send the pull timer. Go, 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 go.
They've got time. They've got their buffs.
Yeah, I dare you to take the servers down while they're in the middle of a pull, Blizzard.
Yeah.
I dare you. No, I want them to get it so bad.
I got an ad. Can someone get any gift?
That's right. We're supporting the guilds.
We're right.
That's ad revenue right there. That's
right.
supporting the race to World First.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to see. We've got some amazing sponsors over here on the Team Liquid stream, but support for all of these guilds is what's going to help make it a more competitive race in the future as well.
Yeah, subscribe using Twitch Prime if you don't want the ads. I should take my own advice, but I already used it this month. But yeah, really unfortunate. We'll keep everyone tuned in, of course. It might not be a hard cutoff in 4 minutes. Based on their chat, it kind of seems like they might be taking another poll. But yeah, if they can get over that mental hurdle like you were saying, Zyro, maybe they could continue to be as competitive as they were last week into this next week. Because it's just been such a competitive tier so far. The raid itself has been so much fun to watch, of course, and I love when we get 3 guilds simultaneously pulling at once. But
I wasn't
like
really expecting this.
And we are doing Mythic Plus.
Why are we not killing
Womp womp. I don't know.
I'm
the
trying.
worst one too.
Are people not crest maxed for the week?
That might be it.
Right, because you don't get the new maximum unlocked until the reset, but how many crests do you get per boss kill in raid?
It's 15, so you get 15 from Silken Court on heroic, 15 from Silken Court, from
Ansarek
on heroic, 15 from all the mythic bosses they've killed. So
okay, well, so if you're in for everything, you get them, but obviously with some comp swaps, maybe they're hunting for their last 15 crests or something to send the upgrades. Because I can't think of any end of dungeon loot that at this point would be much of an upgrade, just because item level wise, most of what they're wearing is got to be above the maximum end of dungeon item level.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of would maybe be an Arakara sack brood from this particular dungeon.
Gotcha.
That's the only reason I'd think of it. It's a good secondary trinket for a lot of the classes. I don't think THD would have it. He's got a Mad Queen.
He's swimming in gear right now.
He does
really
not
is.
need it.
And has been this whole time as well, as he likes to remind us frequently.
I would suspect that Zasevi Evoker is the one that's being the beneficiary of
that
is a relatively new character that they decided to gear up last week.
That's a great call, because he's been one of the most active swappers, right, between the Resto Shaman and the Evoker. So yeah, perhaps just trying to hunt a final piece here for Zevi to make sure he's all set up for that Ansarek kill.
Also confirmed method looks to be done for the night.
Reasonable, tragic, but reasonable call.
Reasonable. Get some sleep in.
Go get that much deserved and much needed rest.
Definitely.
hopefully, hey, look, it's not over until it's over, right? Hopefully they come back tomorrow, a little fresh, refresh. They do their splits, and they're going to smack Silken Court. And that might just be enough for them to say, hey, we're feeling good. The good news for a guild like Method, actually, while they weren't able to take down Silken Court, somebody else was and gave them data on Queen Ansarek, right? At least they're able to look at those few polls that Echo did online and on stream to at least gather some initial data on P1. Would you prefer to do it yourselves? Absolutely. But you're at least not working with nothing.
Yeah, them not killing the boss is certainly not nearly as bad as it would have been if Liquid didn't kill the boss last night. Because there's no one to get the data for them as it stands right now. Like, Echo didn't stream their polls. We're not really going to get any information from them. They'd be going into their looting today completely blind on what they need for Ansarek. So
yeah,
it's good that Liquid got it. Sad that Method didn't get it, but like you said, plenty of time left in the race. While we're talking about other guilds outside of Echo and Liquid, though, we haven't really given a lot of attention to the other guilds below them. And with the reintroduction of the Chinese region into the scene, they've been stepping up. There's a lot of good guilds from China in the top 10. We've got Hot Pot Hero in that 4th slot. They were kind of the ones who showed off the BOE farming strat before the first boss. That's why they were so much higher item level than every other guild for almost all of the first week. Jijin Hong's been in the race for forever. Like, they are a long-standing guild of the race. They've been top 10 for the past, like, 10 tiers that they've been a guild. So they're good to see them back up there. Zemox is a new guild, but it's kind of returning in the sense that they used to be Skyline.
Okay, I was about to say, I don't recognize that name, but Fat Shark, yes, and Instant Dollars, of course, are two mainstays in that top 10 quite often in the race.
And of course, there's also a 4th Chinese guild. Endmyth is also from the China region. So I'm glad to see them back in the fold.
Yeah.
Got a lot of good guilds, a lot of good players. Hopefully they can step up the game in the next couple of raid tiers and compete with the top.
Also, interesting to note, Scott is playing in Arachnophobia mode.
I have not personally turned that on.
Me too. I haven't even seen what it looks like, so.
There's actually a reason to turn it on.
Yeah, I know.
For Brood Twister Oven.
No way.
What's
the spider ads are huge. But if you turn on Arachnophobia mode, they become a lot smaller, so it's easier to see the swirls on the ground to dodge them.
That seems like an oversight.
Does it change their actual hitbox, though?
Or no.
Well,
it just changes their model size.
Just changes the model size. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, anything you can do to reduce clutter, right? When there's so many stacked mechanics rather on top of each other, can be very valuable.
Indeed. If you're just now tuning in, we did some re-clearing. We went on Brood Twister. Before heading into Princess Kaiveza, we were taking a little bit of a break with some nice, relaxing Mythic Plus in some Arakara.
I don't know if I would call plus 10 relaxing. Maybe it is for them. But like Mythic Plus keys right now are no joke.
What do you mean?
For Pugs specifically, some of these dungeons are demonic.
Yeah.
Things like the 3rd boss in Necrotic Wake just completely destroying groups. I mean, Mythic Plus has gotten so much harder to do over the years with how much... It almost seems like they're overloading trash with mechanics. There's so many kicks you need to know about, so many CC chains that should be kind of studied to actually figure out the bigger pulls. It's pretty hard for Pugs. For sure.
Oh, without a doubt. I was going to say, I mean, but that is the difficulty, right? You have to find some balance, or if you're on the balance team, you have to index towards players that have, you know, set push teams, you know, who play at the highest level, and then you've got your players who just want to log in, queue into a dungeon, and run with a pug, and you gotta to balance the dungeon for both extremes and everyone in between is not a task that I envy. But absolutely, the number of kicks that are out there nowadays is brutal to have to try and deal with in a pug.
Do you have a favorite dungeon? You're an M+ guy. You said Dash. You enjoying so far?
In the current set of dungeons, you know what's funny is I personally like Necrotic Wake.
Okay.
I think part of it is when I might still be thinking of it of old, but like I love some of the massive pulls you can do up in the what are we calling that? The ziggurat. Up once you go up and you're in that room. The one thing I hate is just how much the extra spawning packs up there. I feel like we could remove those. You know how those 2 extra packs spawn on the sides afterwards? I feel like we could remove those and the dungeon would just feel a lot more streamlined and nice. But I do like the opportunity you have especially playing a Prot Warrior, to kind of go for some really insane pulls upstairs. You know, grouping up just an absurd number of ads and trying to, you know, absolutely obliterate them. So there's fun elements to that a dungeon. It can also be one of the most painful when people don't get things right. You know, that's even the second boss can be incredibly punishing with the breath, you know, and things like that. Or if people don't understand the hook mechanic on the third boss, and all of a sudden you got 3 abominations, and you're like, please, somebody, just grab this guy and get him down. I think, you know what's also, I actually don't mind Stone Vault at all. I kind of like it aesthetically. I like having some semblance of options. While ultimately you're just choosing to go one fork, like one direction in the fork, and then you go back and go the other direction. Having that choice is nice, even if it is almost a fake choice, because you're going to have to do both. So that's probably my first 2 that I would call out from this. I like Miss aesthetically and thematically. That one gets old after you've run it a million times, because doing the maze, and I'm one of the people that doesn't, I know there used to be an add-on, I don't know if it still exists, that it like solves the maze for you. But I'm like one of those sticklers for like, no, we got to do the mechanic. That can get a little brutal your 20th time running that dungeon. You're like, oh my God, we got it wrong. We got ported back.
Yeah. Fortunately, dude, the Miss used to be really bad with certain affix sets. Things like Spiteful that prevented you from going through the fog.
Right, because it's just still in combat. So yeah, just sit here and wait.
Horrible.
You know, I will say one element of that dungeon that I don't love. It's such a minor thing. I don't really love being gated by RP. And while you don't technically get gated because you can mount, run up back through the maze and down that ramp to save time after the butterfly boss, technically, like that's just annoying to do. Like to have to min-max by mounting and convincing your whole party to run to save 5 seconds is not, you know, it's
a little cheesy.
I'd rather just let us jump down. You know, like we killed the boss, let us jump down. Little tiny things like that I would fix, but.
So it's safe to say you weren't a big Spires of Ascension fan. Okay.
Actually, no, not that element, but I will say I was playing Boomy during that, at that time. That was the dungeon I felt like I had the best understanding of my cooldown usage from start to finish. While yes, exactly what you're talking about, I didn't love some of those RP elements. There was something about that dungeon that season that I just felt like I understood, and every time I went into it, I felt like I was always lining up my cooldowns well to get big burst on the boomkin, and that is rewarding as a player when you feel like you have mastery over the dungeon. Didn't find that mastery with every Mythic Plus dungeon that year.
Interesting news. Sorry for the back and forth, but Mythic's still going, dude.
Yeah,
they're still going.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Get the kill.
Quite
Never say die.
Yeah, they're going D-Gen hours. This is gamer hours, dude.
But they're playing for the win. Right? That's what that tells me. They're playing for the win.
I'm here for it. So I'll keep
Hope they get that loot this week.
Yeah. Yeah, but in the meantime over here, we're just gonna cruise through some M+. Hanging out with the dogs on the sofa over here. She looks okay. Is she gonna try and come up and
She's just trying to be close.
You wanna come up here?
Ooh.
Did she jump up here?
She's a lapdog.
Come here. Come here.
Oh.
Come here.
Oh, you got her attention.
Come up here. Come up here. You can hang out with me. Come on, you can do it.
I don't know if she might think she won't fit.
You can totally fit. I believe it.
Okay, well, did we get what we're hunting for here?
Got a little bit left to go. Hopefully we did.
I just heard the sound and I got excited when I heard the boss.
I don't know why people have that soundbite on for middle bosses in a Mythic.
That's kind of weird, right? I heard that and I was like, dungeon's over.
Strange. We've got some. This is funny.
I know, yes. Now you are getting jealous.
That's okay. Oh, no. Oh, God. Your tails. You're whipping the equipment. Azula.
Sit the booty on the ground, Azula.
He's like, out of here first.
So, question on Queen Ansarek. And this is very just... what's the word I'm looking for? I know that we don't have the answer, but we noticed by watching Echo's initial polls that the soaks that they have, and on Heroic, it's 2 soaks at a time. It's always 2. Each time the soaks come out, it's +1.
Right.
Do we know if there's a cap to the number, or will it just keep scaling +1 till you get out of phase 1? Because neither guild has technically made it to phase 2 yet.
I'm not sure. I mean, so in Heroic, the push on the boss is determined by one of two things, right? It's either a time-based thing, so the boss will automatically phase to the intermission at 240-ish.
230.
230. Or it's percentage-based. So if you push the boss to 35%, it'll auto go to the intermission. That 230 timer is right after the third froth. So
we can only have a max. Mythic, unless it casts more often.
Yeah, unless it casts more often on Mythic, then it should go 2, then 3, then 4. And then the last one they have to do the phase will be 4 of those circles to soak, which is still pretty scary.
That's crazy.
These are taking double damage than they are on the first one. So we'll see. Hopefully today we'll see.
Is that livable? Like, that's what I'm starting to, I mean, hopefully, right? I don't know how many externals and personals they're stacking.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a plan. Well, let's see if we can get a little bit more insight onto the plans that they do have. We're going to head to a Monster Energy. Listen in.
Sleep into the soak as well.
Perfect.
Really, all this is enough.
I think so.
I'm pretty sure we can just run it down mid.
Yeah.
I got another Blood Overseer guy. Oh, we got
oh,
flight with bats.
Danger. I'm getting stunned as well. Perfect.
DAO.
I have cooldown soon. Can you rescue me out of the next stun, Zevi? Just I'm not going to be able to move.
Why can you not move?
The slow. 90% slow.
W.
Rescue. Nice.
Yeah.
You could shift, right?
Yeah. Ooh. I'll shift. Not a problem.
You can do that during the feast on Interact too.
Yeah, you just shift. Oh yeah, we definitely need that.
Wow, this guy gets 35. What the fuck?
To call forth the darkness.
I wonder why.
Because he stuns you, Uncle Don. This is a good mob. This is a good mob. I love it. It's like I'm playing classic WoW.
Yeah, this is sick.
He just stuns the whole group, melees the tank. This is literally... Yeah, wait a second.
And bang.
Boom.
Wow.
What's he doing next? Melee. Melee. Melee.
Oh, there's the stun.
Oh, insane skip.
Do you see it?
I'm just gonna hold everything for the boss. Blow him up. It's fine, Master.
I'm being optimistic here. Gonna keep the stacks for the boss.
That's right. Surely these guys aren't dangerous.
I'll vortex you.
Oh, what?
Shit.
I need Irony to make me a weak warlike we have for the feast, but except whenever you drop a vortex, it's just an air horn.
I feel like Trash isn't tanky enough.
Yeah.
100% agreed.
The harvest will prevail.
I'll just spell myself every time. So.
I even get out of the route. I might be able to shift in. Oh, you can't change the directions of these anymore?
Would you ever?
Yeah. Used to just be turning your camera.
Yoink.
W charge.
Yep.
This hand warmer has been in my pocket for a while and it's starting to burn.
It might explode.
Yeah, that's pretty standard with them. How do you know when the hand warmer is done? Does it like go?
It stops being warm.
It goes cold.
Okay, I wasn't sure if the explode part meant it was done or.
No. I mean that probably means it's done as well.
Yeah.
That could be a sign of early done.
Surely I don't die here, right?
Do you see it? A stone to call forth the darkness.
My blood. Oh, yo, whoa. Perfect. Still happens.
Oh, trinket. Wrong one.
Nice.
All right, I got all my gilded. Easy.
Same.
I can't wait to hear
Okay, actually no, I'm missing 3. Why is this only 12? What a disaster.
13.
I'm missing 13. Wait, I can.
You can move up ruined.
Yeah.
16 of them.
Yeah, I already moved up rune. I missed 3 crests.
I can move up carved ruined and then rune to.
Missing 3.
How do you move them up? Is it just at the
vendor? Yeah.
Careful, fired up. You want me to guide you to buying the right one?
Am I gonna mess this up?
You can fuck it up really bad.
Yeah, you can accidentally go gilded into ruined. You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah. Let's
Okay,
guide me.
I'll
Come
go
over.
over. I'll go over.
So I need 8 gilded. But that's fine. Like, I'm not upset.
I need 3. How do I get 3? Is there like an easy way to get big crests? The mythic ones?
What did you say?
Is there an easy way to tell how to get the crests? Some quick activity that's not doing enough key.
5 as I think.
Oh, I'm not in on this guy.
Oh. Silken.
Yeah, I guess actually Silken would be good. Yeah, good call, man. Yeah. I thought about Coinbase. I didn't think past that though.
Do you see it? A star. Control it.
I can catch him.
Bubbling this
fucking
fucking
nothing. Nothing. I kicked nothing. I kicked the beer. Who the fuck goes there, huh?
We didn't get the
Who goes there?
shit. I mean, I consider if a raider needs the thing, by the way, after this. I think Runes is already in a group. He said
44 mil.
He's in a 4-man group.
God dang, Pod. Flip. Pod.
Dude, they're actually sitting at the servers down, trying to log in before a reset. Hopefully there's an extension. Your Euros aren't used to the infinite maintenance, I guess.
Orbs coming in from behind. One more.
How do you actually stop that fear?
You don't.
Pete that night.
You'll hit the tree.
Yeah, the other guys take no damage.
0?
Yeah, basically.
Thought he was like, I thought his health went to the
He's reduced
other
by
guy.
80%.
Oh.
Hey.
I've been doing this fight wrong.
What?
I mean, I knew there was an amp or whatever here, but I thought it was like shared health or some shit.
Do some damage.
Passion P.
Everything's going.
Right, fresh out on Mad Queens.
What does it give the boss? Boss gets it.
Same buff.
What does the
Mastery.
boss do with mastery?
Master.
And leech.
Leech, oh god. There's probably some boss.
No healer
There's
weak.
probably at least one boss that just like leeches to full from some weird interaction.
Right.
That definitely looks left.
Oh.
How'd you do that?
Gang.
You know, I just never did Mythic Plus until Dragon.
Stop expelling me.
Ever.
Always gonna expel you.
They'll stop that.
Expelled.
Where the fuck are the orbs?
I don't think they work with the Z-axis.
One.
Oh,
Where are they?
they got Z-axis because they tested it.
How do you know where to go? How do you know where to go?
We saw her go through.
Good lord, man.
Yeah.
Chill, bro, chill.
Well, if you would eat some of these spells from me, man, play a range class.
It is left.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, from the Monster Energy Listen In here at the Race to World First, presented by Coinbase. Just taking a look. We're in chill mode right now as the Raiders are diving into their respective Mythic Plus grinds, hypothesizing that they're fishing for those last important upgrades. You know, a trinket here, an item level there. Maybe one or two people need just those crests to send an upgrade. But at the very least, just looking to eke out those final upgrades before they commit to the remaining bosses there in Mythic for the re-clear and the eventual prog on Queen Ansarek.
Yeah, we were kind of questioning what the reasoning behind doing exactly this right now might be, but it really might just be as simple as they're still kind of worried about Nexus Princess a little bit, so why not go for maximum upgrades before we go back to that boss? Just remember, that has been the hardest boss of the raid by far, right? It's still going to have a lot of the problems you had during progression here, especially if they go for the one tank still.
Yeah.
So.
And I'll even add on to that. I think, well, absolutely eyeing Kaiveza, right, for every little bit that we can get to make that fight that much easier and keep it in single-digit pulls as opposed to creeping up into double digits. But I think it also speaks to their perceived difficulty of Queen Ansarek to a degree, right? Because once again, I feel like once you get through Kaiveza onto Silken Court, at that point, you really want to be just on the home stretch, right? I have a hard time believing they'd want to stop down unless they absolutely need to at that point for a specific upgrade or a comp change, and otherwise just at that point drive to the finish.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be breaking any time on progress unless you're grabbing food or going to sleep, for sure.
It's true, and the food here is definitely worth stopping for. I will tell you that much.
100%. But of course, they want to spend as much time as possible on the raid. We love Chef Heidi here.
Well, hey, look, they're in Mists. We were talking about Mists, and luckily for them, there are no affixes that are going to trap them in the maze for too long here. So as long as they've got the quick solve, all of these players just absolutely, and with 2 DKs as well, going to be dunking the AoE damage. But I'm not jealous of Dryny right now watching those health bars.
Yeah, you just have to not pay attention to blood DK health bars, you know? They do that. As long as they have
so
runic
panic-inducing.
power, they're fine.
Yeah.
It's the runic power bar you really got to watch, which he's not watching at all, surprisingly. Is he not even tracking the DK's runic power? Okay, the DK died, so
well,
clearly they were out of runic power.
There's your answer.
Hopefully they don't wipe here. That's going to be a big time loss.
That's true, because it was a big,
well, they didn't get the checkpoint.
Oh, the seed.
Yeah.
Well, so actually remind me, I've already forgotten, because obviously back then it was based on your covenant, right? You had to be Night Fae Covenant to do a lot of the specific things. What did they change? They changed it. Now is it Herbalist or is it based on your race?
So they changed a couple of things.
Okay.
They changed, so the initial skip at the start of the key plus the wall that unlocks like the mushroom area for you to get your buffs, that's all now based off of either race or class. So like Druids can open it, Herbalists can open it. There are a couple other things I can't think off the top of my head. I think like High Mountain Tauren.
Okay.
Tauren should be able to open it as well.
Natural Herbalists.
And also they changed it so that anybody can click on the checkpoint now.
Okay, well, then that's inexcusable.
So they just didn't click on it.
We're inting.
No, lost a bunch of time for no reason.
Yeah, for real, for real.
Time is everything right now. The boss has got to go down.
It's a really good point. It's a really good point. You don't want to be the last Mythic Plus group, right? Everybody else is done with their Mythic Plus runs, and they're like, Dryny, Atlas, where you guys at? Like, well, we're wiping in Mists currently.
They're wiping.
On a 3-year-old dungeon.
Oh, no. Okay.
No less.
Well, here's a
the checkpoint.
Yeah, it's true. They're not doing it.
Oh, no.
All right, guys, click the acorn on the way through. Also, for those of you who don't know, there's some really fun, there's the Warlock skip in this dungeon. Look it up, YouTube it if you don't know about it, but it's a phenomenal skip in this one. Of course, there's the skip here, typically done through an Incapacitate and a Ring or any number of things, even a Mind Soothe. On this closest ad that they're approaching lets you skip one of the most atrocious trash packs in this whole dungeon. And then a tip for those of you who are entering into the maze for the very first time and don't have that cheeky add-on that might help you solve it on its own, just watch the butterfly. On that very first, you don't have to solve the puzzle on the very first room. Just look which mist door she walks through, and you can just follow her through that mist door. I don't know if the hunter pulls are still possible.
Yeah, you can still pull through the wall with
for the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting things in this dungeon that you can do.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting things you can do here. And now they're doing the maze incorrectly. I informed Dryny. I just texted him on BNet. Anybody can click the nut, but they still didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what are they doing?
Why don't you just go over there and tell him, maybe? Just let him know?
No.
This is more fun.
Okay, you know what? You're right.
This is more fun.
Off topic. What is that dragon somebody behind him has? It's really cool looking. Oh,
Huh.
What is going on?
Did we port into a weekly no lever? Where are we at now?
Oh man.
What's going on?
I think this is a pug group. I don't think these are world first raiders here.
Usually the saying is that Mythic Plus skills don't translate into raid very well, but we're seeing the opposite of that here.
Well, 12 minutes left to go. Not looking like a timed key at this point,
Yeah.
but we can still finish it, and we can get that loot.
They still have hope. I believe in them. Also, I like how every time we tune into Drainy's camera, it just he sinks lower and lower into his chair. He's kind of propped up right now, but a little bit ago, could only see the tip of his head.
He's vibing.
He's gaming.
He's in the zone. Locked
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, but in the meantime, we're seeing a lot of the raiders kind of get up, grab a snack, get some refreshments before they go back in to the grind. Nearing, it's up 6:30 local time here, so kind of towards the evening. Heidi's making dinner. I don't know if you guys already talked about this.
We just briefly. I mentioned, because we mentioned that really the only thing you'd ever want to stop your progression for once you are into that Mythic Answer progression would be things like food breaks.
Right.
And then I mentioned that the food here is definitely worth stopping for.
Definitely.
I didn't look at the menu though. Do we know what dinners?
I looked at it this morning and now I forget what it is. I can smell it. It smells good.
Baked ziti plus something.
Well, why don't I just tune in to Chef Heidi LA's Twitch stream and see what she's cooking up. I can hear her yapping in there. Let's see. This morning she made cinnamon rolls.
Oh,
they were good.
They were insane. I had 2 of them.
Showed up early.
I showed up and I was like, I'm gonna have half, but I had 2.
How quickly half turns into 2.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Alternatively,
it quickly spiraled.
I think in our Team Liquid chat, you can type ! breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and
just get the menu.
Whoa.
They've thought of everything here.
Or !chef, and you can be linked to Chef Heidi's stream also.
There you have. Get in there.
Look at what she's cooking up over there. But yeah, there's really been a nice shift, I think, in the last couple of years with this guild in particular. Obviously can't speak for the other ones in terms of like mental health, getting your sleep, getting your nutrition. It seems to have worked out pretty nicely for them. I feel like the vibes, especially this year, have really stayed pretty mellow and hype this whole time, this whole tier.
I think they've looked good. Again, from the outside looking in, and I've had the fortunate privilege of being able to hop between the mainstream to get your guys' perspective, but then to occasionally hop into Max's to kind of hear what the actual discussion at any given moment is. As it looks like Drainy did go down, but the boss health might be low enough that they can do this sans healer.
They've got Blood Decay, they've got a Frost Decay, they've got a Ret Paladin. The only person that might go down is the Hunter.
The Hunter, those poor Hunters. I felt so bad during Kaiveza Prague watching those poor Hunters just run out of options. You know, you're just like, poor King. Even before Kingfly got subbed out, it's like Malarkus and Kingfly just so often. They're actually speaking to me listening behind the scenes when they did decide to make that swap. They were deciding between multiple classes. It wasn't a certainty that a Hunter would get subbed out. And then I believe it was Tags, who went and looked at healing requirements for each of the classes throughout polls. And he had done some quick maths and found that the Hunters were requiring 30% more healing than any of the other classes. The Dragons were they were thinking about maybe dropping a Dev Evoker, funnily enough. But then as soon as they heard Hunters take 30% more healing, sorry, we're dropping down to 1 Hunter at this point.
Dropping a Dev Evoker would have been a huge misplay, because as we saw from the logs, and obviously why they didn't sub one out, Renewing Blaze was a huge reason why they were actually able to kill a fight.
Yeah.
Not only the Renewing Blaze on themselves, but I think it's with Flame Shaper as well. They can put a 50% strength Renewing Blaze on another player as well, which is incredibly useful for those dots. Part of the reason they were able to make the kill work. Part of the reason they had 5 Evokers on the fight too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Evokers right now, they just living the high life in this raid in general.
They've been living it ever since they got invented, really. But here's Chef Heidi. Can we get a yes, Chef, in the chat?
Yes, Chef.
Yes, Chef.
Cooking up her food with her assistant, Luna, as well as Mila there. Sounds like she's making baked ziti. I have no idea what that is. Some kind of chicken dish.
Pasta with chicken. Yep.
Oh my god. Okay, fantastic.
I'm sure most people might only know ziti from The Sopranos.
I don't know if.
And I was gonna say, and probably the majority of our audience and demographic doesn't even know what The Sopranos is. Sadly,
Oh, no.
I know, it's ironic.
I know what it is. I've never seen it.
Oh, us
I'm
boomers.
So
At least we probably got some people in chat.
There's a few.
Yeah,
There's a few
there
for
are.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
There's a few of them. Most of them are just
Pages
spamming
restart.
yes, chef. Oh, there's a cringe. So I had a cringe, but yeah, no, shout out Chef
That's
Heidi.
always there, though.
Yeah, I know. It just makes us more powerful, really. Really, and gives us more power to be even more cringe as we move along. But hello, everyone. If you're just tuning in, we are doing Mythic Plus and watching Chef Heidi cook some food. We're watching Atlas into Key. Well, not just Atlas. It's kind of a group effort, really.
yeah. Don't pin it all on one person.
We're watching Atlas's POV of the entire Key.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Didn't mean to throw our buddy there under the bus.
you're
See, they're
good.
trying to. He's helping.
Some of these trash packs can be pretty brutal at this stage of the dungeon as well. With those the stinger, like the wasps.
Oh yeah.
That are padding around, they can be pretty rough. And then just the number of swirlies coming out here. Still some important kicks to get.
Looking at all the people in this group, this is like old Liquid right here. All of these players played in the guild like 5+ years ago.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
Padra and Tags like haven't been playing too much recently.
Oh, is Padra in this group?
Yeah, Padra's in this
Oh
group.
my god, I love it. I can't read that.
I didn't even know Padra
that far.
was playing the game.
Me neither. I didn't know Tags was playing either.
Tags has been pugging it up, man. He's been doing a ton of Mythic Plus.
Yeah.
He's been loving life as a rep pally.
He just kind of wanders around.
What's
I like
funny,
it.
yeah, he'll wander into the caster room
Yeah,
and be like,
yeah.
oh man, pugs are so brutal right now.
Oh, really?
You talking Rep Paladin there. I don't know why that triggered it in my brain. We did have some class changes between weeks. None of them were super substantial. None of them are a reason, I think, to make changes. Fire Mage's got a buff, but you're still probably playing Sun Fury.
Yep.
Shadow Priest, the 4% damage on Shadow, but is just Shadow just still not good enough to be worth it that you'd ever sub out your Holy Priest for a Shadow to just have your fort and bring in another Evoker or something?
That's an interesting conversation. I mean, the fort buff is almost always going to be covered by a healer right now, unless you somehow found a way to bring in 3 Evokers.
Right.
Then I don't know if Shadow's strong enough to take a raid slot up, because there's other things that are stronger, especially as range characters that you'd like to play.
Just like go with another Mage or another Dev Evoker.
Mage,
Even.
Another Dev Evoker.
Yeah.
Even another Warlock. Warlock is like really strong right now, and it's like it's just not brought usually, or it's not stacked because there's just no extra raid slots for it. But I don't know. If you were thinking about bringing a Shadow Priest, I'm sure there are plenty of other better options right now. I know Method was running one though.
Yeah,
they were?
I'm pretty sure they were running one.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool.
Can look back at
See,
their-
that's even something that I appreciated between the top 3 guilds is that on a lot of their boss kills, they're not running the exact same comp, right? There were still a few differences. Talking about those Kaiveza pulls, it was triple Dev for Liquid. It was double Aug for the other 2 guilds, for Method and for Echo. They were running double Aug, no Devastation, and then they were running 4 mages as opposed to 3 mages. And they were using those augmentation evokers, obviously primarily to boost the mages, but also their strategy alone and approach to the boss used the evokers in a very different way, where they were using the evokers to increase uptime for their ranged classes in particular on the boss, and then having rescue assignments go out for the initial assassination placements. So you could just stand in free cast, you get assigned one of these 4 evokers. Now there are 5 portals that go out, or 5 circles that go out, so one person always had to relocate themselves. But it was just it was a really interesting and different approach to the fight, and we've seen how effective both could be. And I feel like in races of old, people always come down to the same common denominator. You know, like guilds that are this smart, they'll usually arrive at a near similar conclusion on any boss, and it's not been as prevalent in this race.
I didn't actually even think of using the rescues as like removing one of the things you have to think about in the fight, because theoretically you don't have to think about where you're going at all.
No, not at all.
If that's the strategy. You
It's
just gotta
all
rescue
assigned.
your spot.
The added bonus is they take the talent that I can't remember the name of that gives both you and the person you rescue a shield.
Twin Guardian.
And it equated to like 4 million health per pair. So it was something like 16 million health that they're saving on healing just by executing that strategy. And then they put the responsibility of the charge, the first charge in phase 1, on the tanks.
Right.
So the tanks would then, they would just run all of the charges in a counterclockwise or a clockwise direction, and it was up to Mirez, I think, who was tanking on the monk, in that fight, to reposition the boss for that first charge, and then the second charge all go through the middle, which it removed a lot of uncertainty in some ways for the fight. And I thought that it just was a really cool approach. By the same token, I think what Liquid does, or did, has a lot of advantages in its own way. While it is maybe less, quote-unquote, consistent in its strategic approach, it built enough of a system for the players to follow, right? Basically, they had set up the marks so that Max could call marks go through first, and everybody else is just responsible for repositioning their assassins, their shadows, to then be going through the boss on the second pass through. And it was enough of a system that everyone got it, but then you kind of get to the place of, hey, personal responsibility. Just execute, right? And I don't know which is the better approach, to be honest, and maybe each approach was best for their respective guilds, but again, watching these guys come up with these strategies is one of my favorite aspects of this race, and I do think that while people can have whatever complaints they want to have about this tier, that's something that this raid has done well, is give opportunities for differing strategies and different approaches to still be successful.
It's a really good raid for that. I suspect that the Echo strategy is likely going to be the one that's picked up by guilds progressing on the fight now, just because it makes a little more sense to just rotate all of them the exact same way every time, so you don't have to think about, okay, I need to go far for this one or close for this one.
Mm-hmm.
But again, what works for Liquid might not work for other guilds.
Right.
And vice versa for Echo. So yeah, it's definitely cool to see the differing strategies, and both of them working equally well. They both pretty much killed the boss in the same whole time on the boss. I think Liquid was maybe slightly shorter, but it was still extremely close.
Yeah, they're all going to have different ways that they approach and work best with what they've historically been able to accomplish. So glad we've got 2 of them that have completed it. We're still checking in on Method. They're kind of, I don't actually understand what they're doing now. I think they're literally just going to stay up until their servers reset and keep going, which is insane.
Yeah, that I would start to question.
Yeah, same.
Are they in chairs? No, they're not even.
They're not even around.
Well, maybe they're all taking 3-hour naps and they're going to go, they're taking a truncated sleep.
They're just streaming empty chairs and an empty couch. I saw Sko kind of pop up with a little microphone and make an announcement. I couldn't tell what that was, but I think that might be the plan. No sleep. So we'll see how that works.
It's at least evident to me, based on Liquid's approach today, that they believe Ansurek is not going to be easily killable, and it might align with our prediction of at least a 2-day boss.
Yeah, I mean, also there's the thought process that they've lost past tiers by not doing everything that they could possibly do for every single piece of loot, every single upgrade, because Echo will then go in afterwards and be like, okay, you didn't do that? Okay, we will.
Yeah.
We'll get those upgrades. We'll have that extra half item level on you, so if the boss does end up coming down to that half item level, we're going to just basically win by default. So it's good to see that they're covering off that potential, knowing that there's still an entire boss to progress through.
And I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but it looks like a Mythic raid group might be reforming.
A little kill right before dinner?
Maybe.
That'd be a pretty good way to go into dinner. Just get through Kaiveza and then say, all right, we come back for court with full bellies.
Is that Trill in the raid again? Yes, it is. Okay, so we're one ticking again.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
All right, so now that we know the relative composition that they're going to be using going into this, do we want to make poll predictions on this?
Well, let's set a line.
An over-under line?
Yeah, an over-under line. So 4.5. I'm setting the line at 4.5. You going over or under?
Oh, I think one taking. I'm over that.
I think so too. Okay, so let's reset the line. 7.5. Do you go over or under?
I'm still over that.
Ooh, I think I might. This is the thing. I think if they one tank it, we might be in double-digit polls.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like 11.5.
11.5. Okay, but if 11.5, are you going over or under? Because I would pretty comfortably go on either end of that as well.
It's too close to call for.
That's a good line. You should be an odds setter. You found it. I had to ladder up to that. You just went for it. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll go with, even though 11.5 is a scary line, I'll go with the optimistic under. 11 or less.
I'll take the under just because I want them to kill it.
Right, yeah, that's what it is. It's aspirational. It's hopeful.
I'll go under with you.
Let's go.
All right, so we are all right together or we're all wrong together, but I like that. We commit.
We commit. Some copium. Yeah.
You know, or they could just one-shot it.
You never know. You know? The Brood Twister, you know, they took off 120-ish pulls.
Let's go. Do we know what their item level is on their Brood Twister kill? I know it's not the exact same makeup, but it'll give us a general sense of what their average item level is on their Brood Twister kill.
It should say it on either Warcraft Logs or RaiderIO.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to hop over there, and we'll check that out for you all.
You know what? I'm going to hand it to you because I don't know how to. Last time I tried to do it, it
Warcraft
like
Logs?
out on me. Okay.
Yeah, just go Warcraft Logs.
Hold on.
Azula, I think, unplugged some stuff.
They let us see this stuff?
I think she just unplugged the power.
the most important element of it.
Yeah, I unplugged the mouse. That was on me.
Warcraft Logs, and then just hit this button here, follow the race.
Okay.
At the top, it's really nice, and then we can...
See, I always watch this screen. You clearly watch this screen more than I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, when I'm at home, I'm dual monitor setup. I've got the main race on the main monitor, and then I've got Warcraft Logs filling up half my secondary on the top of half of the vertical, and then I have the secondary stream that I'm watching on the bottom half. I got a whole setup.
Yeah.
So then from here, we're going to scroll down till we see Liquid, but let's go down to their most recent Mythic kill, which would be this Brood Twister kill.
Okay.
But to go show details?
Could it not be this one?
No, that's when they that's their first kill.
Okay,
so we want to go to. There should be a last kill choice somewhere. Oh no.
Because this is.
Yeah, that's last week's kill. That's why I'm trying to figure out.
Find it there. Try going to RaiderIO. They'll have it too.
All right. We're live troubleshooting here, but we'll get the data. But I'm just kind of curious because they were. I mean, they ended the week at 622 item level. When they killed Kaiveza, they were 621.5 to 622. So I'm just curious what their average jump is for this raid because I don't know about you, but I was personally very happy to see Blizzard not nerf this boss.
Yeah, well, not nerf it too much, right?
Or, sorry, they nerfed it last week. I meant between the resets.
You mean this week?
Yes, yeah. Seeing that it was killable, this is a fight that I think gets tremendously easier or exponentially easier per item level you get as compared to a fight like Brood Twister, which will get easier with item level, but still has opportunities for the item level to not be the thing that, wipes you or saves you. Here, most of the time when you're wiping, you're dying to known damage and damage that is unavoidable in a number of ways. Yes, you still got to dodge the pizza slices. You still got to, soak your lines and use your personals, but largely the Queensbanes, those are happening whether you want to or whether you want them to or not.
Yeah.
And item level can save you from hitting the 10%.
Sure, item level can save you, but it's not going to do as much. I mean, we were talking about this during progress a lot, I'm sure you were watching.
Yep.
I mean, the damage of the initial hit plus the dot plus the explosion at the end is like 2.5 times your health bar. So a little bit of
still need a personal
from gear. It's not going to save you without popping a personal and having perfect execution. So it still requires an insane amount of group coordination to know who needs healing, who needs externals, just to live through the fight.
But maybe so let me approach it or ask it in a different way, which is even with this item level, whereas last week they kind of needed that 1%, 1 out of 100 perfect pull to kill it.
Yeah.
Would you say now they need 1 out of 50 perfect pull or 1 out of 20 or I guess if our line was 11, they need 1 out of 11 essentially perfect pull now.
Well, obviously the execution shouldn't have gone anywhere, right? They killed this 2 days ago, so it should be pretty fresh in their minds still. They're running the exact same kill comp. They're not changing much from what they did 2 days ago. The only thing that's going to be different is their damage is going to be higher, and maybe their healing output could be a little bit higher too, so the intermissions should be a little safer. That's where they had a lot of spot deaths back then. The thing that I think is really going to be a lot easier for them this week is the damage check. So they don't necessarily need a perfect pull. We saw a lot.
You're right. They could kill it with 19 alive.
Right. We saw a lot of pulls during progression, especially in the last 50 pulls or so, where they would have a death at like the 3-minute mark, and they're like, okay, well, we already don't want to res a person. We could res them at the 4-minute 30 mark, but that means we have to use the Ankh Totem earlier. Let's just reset it.
Yeah.
I don't think they have to do that on the reclear.
Okay.
They still might, just like to keep it consistent, but I don't think they have to. I think they can still kill it with like an untimely death in the middle of the fight. Even on like one of the worst players, like even if they lose Spy Masters on one of their mages, I think their damage still should be fine to kill it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Did we get our? Did we find our data?
Yeah, this was an hour ago here for Brood Twister, 622.87.
Okay.
That's which DKs who probably weren't as geared as their main tanks.
That's what I was about to say.
The DKs were 623 and 621.
Well, Atlas will be high because.
Oh, you mean the tank?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Okay,
the tank
620
DKs.
and 618.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, because I believe even Scott's bear last week was 622 or 623. So that alone is a small jump. And
the highest was.
Yeah.
It looks like it was fired up at 626.
Right. Oh, and they were running RaiderIO, who obviously also will, might bring down the average item level a little bit. So
RaiderIO.
Yeah, RaiderIO was 621.9.
Yo, representing the Boomies though.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see Boomies in there for a couple fights.
Yeah, actually, I think the lowest was, I'm verifying, 618. It was Yip. Yips was the lowest.
Right.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and then we got a couple.
Yo, fired up 626.2.
Yeah, what a gamer.
Are you kidding me?
Lips was 621. Is Frosty came. Everybody juiced up. We're getting them juiced up here.
Very juiced.
Yeah.
There might even be some players who are sitting on their vault, waiting to see what
Right.
their vault. If like an item drops that's in their vault, lets them choose something else.
Yeah.
So they might not have been like fully juiced up on their item level yet, and like you mentioned earlier, they probably still have crests to send out upgrades as well. So they're definitely not at max strength here. Now, something that we're seeing again, they're doing more BOE clears. Are we going to see a princess kill, or was that just a BOE clear and are we back to Mythic Plus?
They're trolling us.
They baited us and we baited you, chat.
I'm going to be real upset if they... I'm like, let's do some more Mythic Plus.
The night is young, though. Let's be real.
Sure is.
The night is young. When it comes
7
to a reset day, they got a lot ahead of them in terms of, hours to play with here.
Something that'd be nice. Can we like get any information on whether or not they got any BOEs in these runs? Like they just killed a bunch of trash. Do we know if they got any BOEs? Any chatters? Can you help us out with that?
Yeah, that would be good info. What's funny is I do know they got one. It was when I was driving up, so I was listening on the phone. They got one on their very first pull of Mythic, before the first boss even. But it was, which isn't supposed to happen. But they mentioned something about it being, I think, like heroic item level. So, they're probably not even going to wear it, kind of a thing. But they did. That's the only one I heard them verbally get while I was driving up.
That was a bind on Warbound BOE.
Oh, maybe it was, and they just didn't clock that right away or something. But yeah, it was pretty funny because immediately first pull it dropped after they all had the same discussion. Well, it's not possible until after we get past the, and then it happens.
That's weird.
I have a non sequitur question for y'all, but
I'm so ready.
Has there been any individual that stood out for you in the race as like that you want to call out as being just like a top performer, somebody that's like really impressed you on the team?
I've got one.
Who you got?
Dazer.
Oh, I was good. That was mine. I had that in the. Well, yeah, I asked the question, so absolutely.
We can both
but I was gonna gush about Dazer.
I mean, okay. First of all, what I'll say first, coming into a boss after they've already pulled the boss, a couple hundred times. He did it for Brood Twister. He did it for Kavesa. They swapped him in, and he wasn't a liability. He knew what he was doing, and he even topped meter some pulls. Like the dude was playing crazy well. And this is a guy that's been in the guild for 3 tiers and hasn't gotten the opportunity to kill that many bosses. Red Paladin isn't brought into a lot of things.
Right.
And now that it's like a really good class and it's covering those buffs when Holy Paladin isn't that good, he's crushing it, man. I'm glad to see him get some playtime.
Yeah, phenomenal player to be able to slot in, right? And like you say, cover for when the Holy Paladin isn't going to cut it, still give the buffs, and then live up to the damage numbers that you need out of him. And specifically, Kavesa is where I was incredibly impressed with him because of the demands. One on the melee in that fight. Melee in that fight is not easy. You go into intermission, and it is pure chaos underneath the boss with the lines that you have to dodge. And then, of course, the opportunity for even an evoker who's within 20 yards to snipe you with a vertical line. And then all through that, throwing out sacks to anybody who's got a Queensbane who might be in danger. And he was always on top of it.
Got something you want to say, Thud?
Oh, you know when we're going to start the raid?
Or do you know when you're going to start the raid?
Well, we were going to.
What happened?
Oh, yeah.
Instance, so we had to soft reset it.
Oh, no.
So we procced an early dinner.
No way.
Hold on. Repeat that, please. Yeah.
I'll repeat what he said for the broadcast. He said they reset their instance to do another BOE round farm. This was going to be their princess kill. but the instance they joined was an oceanic instance. So they all had like 200 ping.
Oh, no.
So they're not going to progress in a 200 ping.
No, absolutely not.
Got our soft reset it once again.
All right.
All right. Well,
I forgot to ask them if they got any BOEs.
We'll get them on the way back, or when somebody else passes
through. You mean
through.
THD specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fair.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, luckily, they can go take dinner. So in a way, no time lost, right? Take dinner now 30 minutes earlier and get right back to it. Hopefully spawning into a North American instance this time around. Give us that more likable MS when it comes to the ping.
I do respect the pacing that they're doing this, though. I feel like overall, just in terms of like holding off on their splits, holding off on their Mythic Plus, like it seems like they've really planned ahead for instances where they want to hold off on progression so that the other guilds can't really watch them for any potential bugs that they run into, for any potential we think a hotfix is going to come in soon type of thing. It seems like they really haven't had those moments aside from maybe like the reset this morning or server maintenance getting delayed. Moments where they've significantly had to waste their time like we've seen in previous tiers.
Yeah, no, they've been calm, cool, collected the entire time. I don't think I've ever seen them feel like they were too pressed to do anything.
Yeah.
Maybe last night was the first time I saw them under some real pressure, like we need to get this boss down tonight. But even then, they killed it pretty early.
Yeah.
They give themselves plenty of time to see information on Ensrek, and then plenty of time to get good sleep tonight before the reset. I mean, they're playing really well when they need to. They're going above and beyond. We even saw, good example is Nexus Princess, right? When they locked in for those last few pulls to kill the boss, that they were just so far ahead of where any other guild was. We didn't know if that boss was killable this weekend.
Oh, yeah. That's a very good point, right? Because they are so often the team that has to figure out if something is or isn't doable, right? And that alone has its own mental wear and tear of just the uncertainty. Other people can go ahead and watch what Liquid is doing, though, and say, okay, yeah, it is killable, or no, it isn't, and we're not going to spend time then toiling away on something that isn't killable. Of course, there's positives and negatives to playing both sides of the reset, but but there are many times when it feels like for Liquid, it's 100 polls of beta testing, before we get to, okay, here's how it's killable and how we're going to make it happen.
Certainly. Yeah, sometimes they're the guinea pigs for sure. But we're nearing the end of our segment here, especially since they procced an early dinner, in the words of THD. But are you going to be on the next segment here, or are you
I told them they could throw me in wherever they want me. I do think I'm slated for a small break and then to rejoin later in the evening as well. But, look, I'm here. I'm here to enjoy the race and to talk to really intelligent individuals like yourselves and absorb as much information as I can, because I love this game. I love this race. But I also recognize that, I come in usually from the outside without the perspective and the knowledge that everyone in this room holds, and so I'm like a sponge here, just trying to grab as much of it as I can and take it home and implement it in my own gameplay.
I've been monitoring chat. They love you. They're lots of people very
too,
impressed with your knowledge. Well, hopefully we'll get, the next time we see you, maybe tonight, you'll actually get to see some Mythic pulls.
Honestly,
we threw you on the couch.
We got to see we got the Brood Twister. I was worried maybe we'd be in full heroic split duty and whatnot, but we got the Brood Twister kill, and as THD said, they were about to go to Princess, so that to me is a very good sign.
Very good.
Very good sign that we'll see some fun stuff later on in the evening.
Yeah. Well, thank you for filling with Zyro and myself. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, pleasure's all mine, y'all.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to throw to a break. We're going to get some food ourselves. Thank you so much to our presenting partner, Coinbase, of course, as well as Secret Lab, Monster Energy, Alienware, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and DungeonDojo. Thank you guys so much. See you in a bit.
We did some research, and apparently Augs buffing other Augs is better than them buffing other DPS.
Oh, that's interesting. So how many Augs do you think is the max in the raid?
Sometimes I come up with the most amazing ideas, and even I'm surprised at how good they are. Yeah, if I'm being honest, it'd be kind of selfish of me not to share these. I don't know if you know this, but I used to raid with them when I was one of the top DPS, and these guys know that, and they respect me. And they're a little stuck on this boss right now, so I think it's time that I step in. All right, guys, I figured it out. I know you're struggling. Queen Ansrek. Got the strat. Tanks here, DPS over here. You can see the ranges is fired up. So here's where they're gonna go. They're gonna go up here, here, P3. You kill the boss right here.
Oh, yeah, I can see that working.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave this here. You can make notes or whatever. It's pretty open.
Yeah. All right, sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Heck yeah, I love this guy.
Sometimes when I'm around them, I think they respect me a little too much and they're kind of afraid to be themselves. Yeah, but I get it. I'd be intimidated to be around me too. The thing is I'm just a normal guy and I love World of Warcraft, but I didn't get this for nothing. Bought it on eBay.
I do not respect Cams. He still links me his Warcraft logs when he has pink parses. It's actually really weird. He should just stick to casting.
Wait, that guy was in a guild? I thought he was someone's dad.
Guys, have you seen this picture of the baby hippo? It's so cute, you're gonna love it. Guys?
I like Cams. I think he's really smart. He's been here before. I feel like he has some insights that can really help us do what we do. Hey, man. Is he still here? Okay. Please get him out of here and lock the door.
Yo, Bubba? Max? Bubba, you there? They're probably just practicing that strat I gave them. They always lock the door when they're having a good pull, so pretty exciting. I'll just wait here.
You want to see something really cool?
Where else can we go?
This is the Honda Prologue. We can go anywhere we want.
Hi, my name's Atlas. I play Death Knight for Liquid Guild. Some of the features of the Alienware Proline mouse that I've really enjoyed. It's extremely lightweight. It glides effortlessly across like a mouse pad. The clicks feel very responsive and give you feedback. I love how this mouse feels. WoW players inherently mash their keyboards like crazy, so it's good to have a reliable keyboard that is responsive and easy to have clicks on the keys. Can I keep it?
Hi, I'm Exile, and I play Rogue in Liquid Guild. Personally, my favorite feature about the Proline mouse is that it feels light as a feather, it's really smooth, and I have no questions on whether or not I'll be able to use it for very extended periods of time. The customizability of the Alienware keyboard is a great feature to have, as you're able to change the lighting whenever you want and even change between switches.
Hi, I am Bubba Dog. I am a analyst/officer in Liquid Guild. The main feature that I really like about the mouse is the side buttons. They give you direct feedback on whether you pressed it or not. The weight and the shape of this mouse are perfect for me. This keyboard is definitely something that I would use at home for general use and for gaming. The way that the keyboard feels to me, I get instantaneous feedback on what button I pressed and how I pressed it.
Hi, my name is Max and I'm the raid leader of Liquid Guild. Alienware Pro Mouse is actually great. It's wireless, it's super easy to deal with. It has great skates, so it actually will glide really well. You could use it all day and you don't get sore at all. So the Alienware Proline keyboard is actually great for WoW. If you want smaller desk space taken up by your keyboard, it can also connect to 3 different devices through Bluetooth. And just overall, it has a great feel. This might be the best keyboard I've ever used.
What is this? Where's my secret lab?
This is your chair.
That's not my chair. It's in my contract, man. I only sit in secret lab chairs.
Look, I'm gonna have permanent back damage because of this.
What's going on with them? P ever got a secret lab?
Chair. Look at my back. Look at the back of the chair. Look at my
Max is gone. Diva.
I use secret labs. This is some dog.
They didn't give me anything.
Ever since Max renewed his contract, he's been like weirdly obsessed with secret lab chairs.
Oh, sorry.
He does everything in them. Like everything.
There we go, right there.
Like, I get it. They're great chairs, but it's just like a bit much. Just like a little too far.
I guess he had it put in his contract to always be sitting in a secret lab chair. I mean, who does that? When did that happen?
Yes. Good secret lab. Look, it's not about the design or the comfort. It's the personalized ergonomics, right? Why else would it be in my contract? I want it wherever I'm at. I feel like people here just don't get it, you know?
For sure.
Like, it's like when you're used to sushi and then you go back to canned tuna. You just don't want that, right? No one wants that.
That's crazy.
I feel like we should be focusing more on prepping for the actual race than like what chairs we sit in. I mean, like, how comfortable can they really be? Oh, okay. I kind of get it.
Let's move my 2 to a 3 and my 5 to a 7. I'm gonna take a quick dinner around then. Actually, you know what? Instead of the 3, maybe move that to a 1. That way I don't have to come into the office until way later, hopefully. Hey. Yeah, sorry about that. Look, it is what it is. I'm a nice guy, but Secret Lab, that's the only chair this butt sits in. Sorry. There's either a Secret Lab there or I'm not going.
All right. That's a wrap, everybody. Thank you. Have a good night.
Ah, there's my secret lab.
Sigma? What the Sigma?
Bruh.
Croissant. Obama.
With my grandson, I love him.
The music going.
Sorry. Yo, what's up? We're back. So, back from a little bit of a break. There was a bit of an incident with the server that the Mythic lockout was on. So we procced an early dinner, but we're back.
Yep, early dinner and a great song. Yeah, while we're gone, do you want to let them know on the news? Big
Method
news.
killed the Silken Court. Now, it might have taken, how long was our raid day? 19 hours? 20 hours? We might have even procced a 21-hour raid day. But Method were finally able to down the Silken Court. Now, I can't even figure out how good or bad this is, but it was certainly a maneuver that has happened.
Well, they certainly committed to it, and it would have been way. Oh, we're losing our music.
Keep going. Keep talking.
Okay, we gotta keep going. It would have been way worse if they didn't kill the boss after staying up till 4 a.m. The reset's at 5. Do you go for the complete insane play of just trying to stay up and do your re-clear?
I think you can't.
I don't think you can. Staying awake for that long, it's going to make your re-clear so inconsistent. They're probably going to go get some sleep, come back early afternoon, start doing their re-clear. The good news is for them, they got their kill. Their loot was pretty bad.
The bad news is...
but?
They need more monster.
Cheers.
Just like we need our other sponsors, Coinbase, Secret Lab, Monster Energy, Alienware, RaiderIO, Wowhead, Warcraft Logs, and the DungeonDojo.
I found a rare one.
Oh, what'd you got?
Ultra Fiesta Mango.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I got the peach tea rehab.
Oh, it's good.
What you got, Tettles?
Nothing.
Make something up.
Yeah, they stayed up late. They even had servers go down for like 15 minutes somewhere in there, and they stayed up and kept going. I mean, congrats to them. That was a maneuver, was a play, clutch kill.
I feel like I was talking to Ciori a little bit about it. I'm a bit concerned with the maneuver itself. Mostly so, I think that they were in a position to possibly get world second at some point. I don't see, like, I didn't see like a real path for them to be able to get world first, but I think that EU and NA does this thing where they'll like slingshot back and forth with their progress. Like EU will get ahead while NA is asleep, and NA will get ahead while EU is asleep type thing. And I thought that method was maybe in a position where somehow they could either outplay Echo or slingshot ahead of Liquid in some capacity and maybe somehow get a world second. I thought it was very unlikely. But now I think with the maneuver that they've made, now they're basically on the same sleep schedule as Liquid, and now they're like almost 24 hours behind Liquid and, you know, like a full sleep behind Echo. So it's, I would describe Method as in a firm third now.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so there is a situation in which killing this boss is actually huge for them. Because imagine they open their vaults and there's just a ton of Mythic Spy Masters in there. Then you're loving life and you're glad you did it.
I'm not arguing about the loot. Like, the loot, of course, is very valuable. It's more just like, is this worth suiciding your sleep over?
Well, how late did they go for their sleep? 4 hours-ish? 5 hours-ish?
6 or 7 hours-ish.
Okay, were they planning to do the same thing as Echo did, where they wake up and alarm clock the 5 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay, then they turbo. Yeah, you're right. It's like 7-8 hours.
Yeah, what, do they maybe just...
Now they go to bed, right?
The best thing to do, is to just stay up and power through a bunch of heroic splits.
No, not that.
No? It's easy content.
No, that'll mess everyone up. Everyone will be tired for the next 3 days. You can't do that.
I mean, this could pay off for them if Ansrek is crazy hard and goes to like Saturday. Then they'll kind of readjust.
Okay, maybe they can bounce back if it goes till Saturday. Sure.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying they're more set in the third place.
Yeah.
This race is so close that if like one of Echo or Liquid has a bad day, then their methods are just back.
I think it's difficult to come back from being down 24 hours of like gameplay, because Liquid killed Silken Court about this time yesterday.
Yeah, give a little later, but
it took a couple hours.
In the scheme of the race,
20 hours,
very similar time. Oh, they're going to do Kaiveza.
Yeah, still, it's very cool for them to get it down. Congrats to Method for the kill. That was well-deserved, especially for the amount of time you put in. But
yeah, okay. So what we're seeing on screen right here, basically Liquid had to soft reset their instance. They had to have everybody zone out of the instance for 30 minutes. They procced in Oath's Realm, so everybody's playing on like 300 ping or something like that, and the Europeans were playing on like 250. Like everybody's ping was really, really bad. So they had to reset the instance. Now everybody's back in. They're pulling Nexus Princess Kaiveza. And they're going to have to run the kill comp from the original kill. The only difference is now we don't have Vantage Runes, but we do have a full reset's worth of gear-ish.
So before the break, we were doing a little segment on desk where Dash was asking us what would our over-under bar be for pulls to kill the boss on this. And we arrived at about 11.5 were the odds numbers for us on this boss. Well, here's the reasoning behind that, right? An entire reset's worth of gear is going to net you a lot of extra wiggle room for your kill encounter, right? They already killed the boss pretty much on Enrage Timer at 6:30. We know that they can limp out to about 6:45, which probably nets you about an extra %. They didn't even need to do that for the first kill. In addition to that, like with the extra reset of gear and the extra damage, maybe you can afford to have those really untimely deaths around the 3-minute mark and just use the battle res at 4:30 and still be able to kill the boss.
I'm hammering the under on the 11.5.
I'm also under.
If you gave me 6.5, that might be close, I feel like.
Yeah. I think it's going to be single digits, but are those single digit pulls going to take an hour, or are they just going to one-shot it? You know? Well, we'll have to see. This is still a mechanically intensive fight. It's still an incredibly difficult fight. The damage of the Queensbane dot is the same as it was last week, and the amount of gear they've gained since then isn't going to make that really any easier to heal necessarily. They're still going to have to keep the fundamentals they learned from last week in order to keep those players alive. And if there's any lapse in concentration, it's going to be just as difficult to kill the boss as it was last week.
I think the big differentiator, and Cams can maybe speak on this a bit more, is I think that they can 19 or 18 player it at a certain point. Probably, but you have to be able to get to P3 with everybody alive.
Yeah, their kill was really clean, and it almost looked like they could 2-tank it. You know, I'm not saying that they should have done that, but it was really clean, and they had, you know, time to spare relative to how long they could go. I don't know how much they could have limped through at the end, but the fight's still fresh in their mind. It was not that long ago that they killed it, and you know, you can keep that muscle memory. And yeah, I think under 10 for sure.
And also, massive shout out I want to say to Trill once again. AWC starts on Friday, and he's still here with the guild, still helping them re-kill bosses while prepping for that.
Offline qualifiers tomorrow.
Oh, it starts tomorrow?
Yes.
Woo.
Basically, they play this offline bracket tournament to get seeded, and it's always on Wednesdays. So they have offline qualifier tomorrow. Trill's been practicing arena. He was sprinting with his food to get back to his desk so he could queue more arena.
They hit rank 1 on Sunday.
Well, he's
2,500 or something. They don't call him Mr. World of Warcraft for nothing. Here we go, back into the fight. First time seeing it since they killed it on Sunday. Let's see if the fundamentals are still there for the squad. I'd imagine after 300 pulls, they should have a pretty good idea of how they need to kill this fight, even though it's been a couple days.
You can see THD there using his conflags, walking back a little bit, still getting as much damage in as he can.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Couple deaths, Trill, Boomy, Goop going down. It's going to end up being a wipe, I think.
Looks like it might have been an errant orb that hit somebody and then cascaded out of control. Going to be a quick reset, so that's a 1. Do we have a pull counter for re-kills pulls?
Maybe it was I wonder how Boomy died. Maybe died by the sword incident? I'm
not sure. Might have been.
Well, do we count that one as a wipe?
Yes.
That is a wipe.
That's 1.
A reset is a wipe.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody in chat type 1 for 1 wipe.
Yeah, we're counting in chat now.
We're not counting on screen. We're going to be counting in chat. 1.
1.
Good job, chat.
Great work, everybody.
9 more.
Are we sure we're
over.
trusting chat to count? They're notoriously bad at counting.
If they
they can type the one
in.
number a lot, but if I told the chat to count to 10 in chat right now, they couldn't do it.
These are the most trustworthy people I know.
Okay. I also trust them implicitly, just usually not with counting.
I think given infinite time, chat can type to 10.
It's like the monkey in the Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm. They could get to infinity.
And beyond.
I think that's also about the monkey in the Shakespeare, yeah.
Yeah. So, should I go over this fight really quick? It's been a while.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, so the first main mechanic is these rifts that come out. You can see, they're already in their position. They make a little star. And then the tank will plant the final rift whenever he drags the boss over there. And it leaves these little images behind, and they're kind of the main mechanic. You can see the ones on the right have this red outline. That means they have the Mythic mechanic. And those will need to be dashed through the boss. And anytime you get the rift or the dash, you get a Queensbane dot, which, when it expires, shoots out those orbs like you just saw. And so it's this kind of dance of dashing these images to spots where the portals don't suck you hard, while also being able to get the masked images through the boss.
Yeah.
Because I guess that's how you remove the mask, is you dash it through the boss.
So explain the 1 tank.
So the 1 tank is really just an adaptation they made at the end of progression in order to milk as much single target damage as possible. The basic idea is that Scott has to find a way to live through the 9 tank busters on this fight using Octotems, using battle reses, using anything he can just to keep himself alive as long as possible. They've kind of got a rotation down. So there's 3 of those tank busters in each of the phases. First one he tanks with a personal, second one he'll die for and use either an Octotem or a battle res to reset with. In the third one, he defensives again. Just the same combination every single phase. At the same time, every time he's planned to die, one of the warriors needs to taunt and die by the sword the boss, so the boss then doesn't, melee one of the other melee players down. It's this interesting thing they came up with, and it was the thing that pretty much every guild that has killed this boss has copied, because the damage check on this boss last week was probably impossible with 2 tanks.
All right, everyone in chat was typing 2 there for a second as well. Good job.
Good job, chat. Let's go.
They're chain pulling. They immediately reset the boss and then started a 15-second pull timer again. So they're not really waiting around. They know that the way that they're killing this boss in Reclear is kind of similar to how they were killing it in Prague. It's not about any additional progression. It's not about any additional strategy or strat changes. It's just about getting volume of pulls to the point where you have everything go right, you make it into phase 3, and then it should be totally okay. I think the hard parts of this fight are still very challenging, not letting yourself dip to 10% HP and get executed by the boss. That is a very, very difficult maneuver, and it requires a lot of pre-planning in terms of how many defensives you're going to be pressing, and especially stuff like this. Like you saw Scott go down, that's intended. That's an intended sack like Zyro was talking about earlier.
In the first phase, I forgot to mention, it's a little different. They sack the first one so that they can get the Ancestral Protector Totem on cooldown. It's a 5-minute cooldown. It won't be up for the last sack unless they use it literally on pull. So he has to die to the first Tank Buster in order to actually make use of that. So he has to live a 2-stack at the end of the phase, and then I believe a 3-stack at the start of next phase. But he should have the defensives and the externals available to live that. Now, the thing that was causing them the most pain on progression were 2 things. Number one, the thing you mentioned earlier, Cam, so Queensbane dots ticking people below 10% HP. There were random spots in the fight where they just didn't have the externals to keep anybody alive. But, as you see right now, that just happened to KSP, right? It's just, this fight is so difficult to deal with as a DPS player. You need to have immaculate trust in your healers and also your evokers who can renew and blaze you to keep you alive. The other part is the part we're about to go into right now, this intermission. There is so much damage in this intermission, so much so that they actually changed their healer comp just to get through it.
Yeah, they brought in that Restoration Shaman. It seemed pretty good, all things considered. Zasevi's still on that Resto Shaman, even though he's been largely gearing Preservation Evoker this reset.
Yeah, my favorite part of this phase is coming up near the end. Everybody gets these regicide lines, and then they all go off at once. Ooh, and they lost Scott there to it. Yeah, there was going to be a wipe anyways because they lost somebody early and don't have the res because they're still doing the 1 tank. I think, well, there they should have reset it, obviously, but if they get some early deaths, I think they should just keep going to like kind of refresh their minds.
Yeah, react.
It's kind of hard if they're just doing like the first 40 seconds of the poll and then resetting if anybody messes up.
3.
Yeah, get a 3 in chat.
3.
2 polls, about to be 3.
We have it on screen now. Lovely.
Yeah.
And just in case chat forgets where we are.
But I guess that would be...
Production has us.
I don't know. But that was 3.
They've done 2 polls. They will do 3.
Yep. No, this was the third. That was the third.
Sorry, I was talking to production about something. Don't.
This was the third wipe.
That was
the third wipe.
I've already lost count.
That was the third. Yes.
It's okay. We've got Twitch chat to count for us.
Chat is literally spamming 3.
So the poll timer, is okay. I don't want to make something. I was about to make something up, and trust me, I'm not scared to be wrong. But doesn't the pull timer update when they pull the boss again, or is it is it manual?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't think it's manual. I suspect that it's. Oh my gosh! Wait, look, it's already updated. Now it's 3.
Oh.
Right. We're on 4.
No, this is
pull
4.
Pull number 4. Yes.
We are on pull number 4.
We're on 4.
But we only start counting whenever they wipe.
Correct.
Or kill it, then it'll be the 4th poll. And become this powerful Preservation Evoker. Sometimes getting huge breaths, sometimes breathing like one person. Like there's sometimes in the intermission, it's just like he shoots back and aims it at like one guy. Must be worth. I don't know that much about Preservation. Maybe the echo stuff he has up will spread it to other people.
It's kind of interesting. I actually hear the boss do like the kill sound, like her voice line whenever she executes a player, more often than not before I actually even see the player die, like on our raid frames.
What does she say? I don't know.
Gosh, it's like something about being executed.
Oh. Understandable. Scott, 1 taking this boss.
I'll point it out next time we hear her do it.
Okay, hopefully we don't hear her do it. I guess it's for Scott. She'll do it. Poor guy. He's chewing that gum.
Final charge of the phase. Just have to hit the boss with these. We should be good to go. It's going to be one last pull, and then we're into the first intermission. Can we keep everyone alive through those Queen's Bane dots? Those are the main thing to keep an eye on right now. Got to dodge orbs, of course. These orbs will still one-shot you this week. The HP gain from the gear we've gotten is not nearly enough to keep you alive to those. It's 7.2 million shadow damage if you get hit by one of those orbs. Maybe like an Arcane Mage with a Prismatic Barrier on them could stay alive barely, but you'd much rather just not get hit. Your healers do not have the available attention to keep you alive when they're dealing with the Queen's Bane dots. But here we go, once again into the intermission here. And like we were talking about before the break, these regicide lines make it a pain to just do anything in this phase. You're trying to stay on this line in between the pizza slices, but Melee, look at Melee right now. They have to dodge from so many different angles. So got to keep an eye on the Melee players. They're probably one of the most likely people to die in this phase. And of course, at the end of the phase, there's going to be a ton of those lines going out like right now. Looks like we're through with all 20.
Something kind of funny. I didn't realize this until earlier, but those regicide lines aren't actually affected by like Zephyr or Avoidance and stuff like that. There's like taking AoE from the boss itself that's affected by Avoidance and Zephyr and Sanctified Plates and whatnot, but not the regicide line, which is, I think, kind of a little bit counterintuitive. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Usually those sweeping abilities would be affected by AoE, but I suspect that it might not be affected by that. It would make sense because the phase was actually so difficult for them to heal through. Not necessarily the first. They got their cooldown usage down in the first intermission pretty early on in progress. But the second intermission specifically is what was causing them so many issues, and was part of the thing that facilitated them swapping from that Holy Paladin to the Resto Shaman, and then also bringing in the Ret Paladin instead of one of their Hunters, because the Hunters were taking so much more damage than anyone else. Not actually taking more damage, but requiring more healing because their defensives weren't as effective on this fight as some of our other DPS classes.
Yeah, especially the Evoker. The Renewing Blaze is beautiful.
Oh yeah, Renewing Blaze is a very good button versus some mechanics and completely useless versus others. However, on this boss, Renewing Blaze is like the ideal ability because it's going to be constantly ticking you up over like a 10-second window. And so it's just like an absolute perfect heal for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you happen to know if you get a Queen's Bane if you get hit by the orb, or is it just some damage?
I'm pretty sure it's just damage, but the damage is so high that like it's gonna one-shot you anyways. So, I mean, I guess if you personal through it, it could be an issue, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't give you a Queen's Bane though. Only the charges in the Assassination give you that. Twilight Massacre and Assassinate.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess the only way people get them is...
Yeah, second intermission. Everyone alive still. Now, see, here's what I think. Obviously, you would love to get through this intermission with everyone alive, but I think that with their extra gear here, they can afford to have a death. So if we see somebody go down here, it's not the end of the world, unless it's maybe the tank, but...
They'll have a res, too.
Yeah, keeping everyone alive. Also, Impact absolutely blasting on the meters right now.
I'm Exile going down. A bit unfortunate, but like you're saying. So they're going to get another res at the 430 mark. They've typically been sending that res, and then they'll like APT Scott. The only downside of that is then Scott has to survive 2 Void Shredders in a row, and then be getting APT'd on the 3rd tank debuff of the phase, which it's something that they definitely practiced for whenever they were looking to do this boss during progression. 2 players going down with both I'm Exile and Malarkus. They full sent the B-res immediately on I'm Exile, so this makes sense. Scott's going to have to survive 2 Void Shredder casts. Basically, he'll get like time dilated. That's the downside of that, right? Is that Scott will be eating that external that otherwise could have gone to a DPS to be able to keep them alive.
Yeah.
But it's just the cost you pay for having to one-tank this fight. And how's the HP of the boss looking? What do we need to see whenever we're going into the last intermission?
So on progression, the marker was 10%, but what do you think now?
Oh, I was going to say we can go to Fired Up's POV. He's got this bar right here.
Oh, yeah.
With the line is the boss's health, and that red line is the enrage timer. So they're right on it. They're starting to lose some ground, but...
They catch back up at some point whenever they press their Spy Master's webs and have some execute damage. Typically that's around the 35% mark that they start to catch back up. And so I think they're losing a little bit of ground on the boss. It might be a situation where just like having 2 players dead is not good enough. I think that you might only need to have like 1 player dead for an extended period of time.
This might still be enough though. This boss HP is quite low. Remember, the mark that on their kill, the mark they had this boss at when that Endless Nightcast finished was like 8.2%. It was the highest damage we'd ever seen from them. They had almost killed the boss with about a 9.5% push on one of their really low, like 0.6% wipes.
I mean, they're pushing here at 13.
And they're pushing here at pretty high amount. Let's see if the burst damage from the extra gear is enough. This is a 12% push. I suspect this will probably bleed out to like a 1 or 2% wipe, but maybe the extra Spy Masters they've gained, maybe the extra gear is enough here, but you have to keep everyone alive in this phase. Any further deaths is almost certainly a wipe. Sari's okay, that's a planned death. We're used to that. Holy Priest goes into angel form and heals everyone else based off of that. Boss is dropping lower. 10 seconds left on the Enrage, and I don't think it's going to be enough, Tettle.
They get a little bit of bonus time from things like, Dazer's going to pop his bubble, Shakib's going to be going into Netherwalk as well to keep himself alive. Scott's able to tank a couple of hits of that ground effect from the Endless Night. But yeah, like you're saying, 2.5%. It's going to be a wipe.
But that's a good pull to have on the fourth pull.
Like,
we're only 4 pulls in. They know how to do the fight still. Just have to keep it clean in the second intermission, and then they should have the damage to kill this boss.
4.
4. The number is 4.
4. We'll have to see what comes next.
The number of the day is 4.
Yeah, something also to keep in mind is the way the Mythic mechanic works is when you dash one of those masks through the boss, each one gives it a stacking 10% damage amp, and if you get by 3, then it becomes permanent. And they have to dash 3 in through the in the last phase. So I'm getting baited by all these numbers, 4s and 3s. But yeah, so the final phase, the boss will be doing 30% extra damage the whole time.
Yeah, well. Uh-oh, did we not have a Soulstone out, THD?
Well, no, THD has to move the Soulstone. So he used the Soulstone to res I'm Exile, and then they wiped the Enrage so they didn't have somebody to reset the boss or anything. And so somebody has to run back from the very beginning of the instance.
Why is the Warlock resing?
Who else is gonna res?
Dazer! The Rep Paladin.
I think you're more likely to get a Warlock pressing Soulstone before a Paladin pressing Intercession, let's be honest here.
You need to have the Warlock Soulstone so you can prevent them. Okay, maybe they thought they weren't going to.
But he has to move the Soulstone to the tank more often than not anyways, so he's already... You're not going to have wipe recovery.
I guess you're planning on resetting if something goes wrong, right? So
yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I missed it. They're just running back.
Yeah, I had to have a healer run back and mass everybody. Not a big deal.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while.
Cams? What's going on? What was all that about with...
Oh, they were wondering if I needed laundry done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can never be too careful with this production squad.
Zyro being nosy about Cam's clothes.
And, smiling at us and waving at us means they want to do some bit.
Uh-huh. No, they were just sneaking a question. I'm good.
I feel like they're a little, antsy right now because, I don't know if you noticed, but when we had Dash and I on here earlier, they had brought out the wheel, but we never got to actually spin it.
Man, what was the plan? Just to rip it?
I mean, if things got boring and we ran out of topics to talk about, spin the wheel.
Spin wheel in case of emergency, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think they want that. There's a mini wheel also.
Hitting the mini wheel is a great success.
Yeah,
it's a huge honor.
That. It's you get a double spin. I think there was even spin the wheel again on the mini wheel or something, so he had a triple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very special.
I hope someone lands on Kalamazoo eats a gluten nut.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Is that part of the wheel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of messed up?
I don't think they'll actually make him eat it. You never know, though. I would eat it for him.
Well, no, that's isn't the part of the wheel is that Kalamazoo eats the gluten nut, not somebody eats the gluten nut.
We need to see what happens.
But if I eat it, he can't. So there you go. Checkmate.
There's only one nut?
No, there's 2. You've done Mist of Tyranno Scythe, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that nut at the waterfall.
Yep.
What do you need to be in there? A druid or
herbalist or Tauren or Nelf or High Mountain Tauren?
Yep.
Oh,
sweet. A lot of things.
All right, what is this? This is 5?
This will be 5. Yes,
this will be 5.
But we're still on. We're counting the wipes, so we're still on 4. Do not increase yet.
Man, this expansion, you just cannot see anything in melee. Maybe that's all the time, and I'm just noticing it more. But or the arcane mages doing the touch of the Magi's. But
I think it's a combination of so many melee effects are going off, especially too whenever you start adding in the Frost DK. You get the Remorseless Winter and their breathing and stuff like that, but you have the Shaman's in Ascendance. You got the Windwalker Monk that's doing the Fist of Fury. 2 Warriors Blade storming. It's dude, what is going on in melee?
It is pretty bad in there for sure. There's only one thing I can think of that is more that is worse than this. and that is raiding in Final Fantasy with all spell effects on.
Well, raiding in Final Fantasy is certainly worse than this. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. I forgot that that was a setting you can turn off.
You can't see anything in a raid of 8 players in Final Fantasy if you have all spell effects on.
Yeah, I can imagine. That game is quite flashy. All right, they're dashing 3 through here, even though they only need to do 2, but it doesn't matter because only 2 had the masks. They just keep the same strat every phase because they will have to do 3 at the end. Dodging the daggers and the orbs. Now they get sucked, but they have nice portal placements, so they'll just kind of stay in the middle here. Nice and chill. Healers heal. Seems like a very fun part to heal.
Yep, healers, you're going to want to heal here.
Mm-hmm. Heal here, and they want to heal here as well, because people will take damage. Hopefully not too much. They won't get hit by the pie slice. Oh, Nick. Being
nice
crazy.
Hover.
I don't know what that was.
Hover. Ooh, Dranako going down. I think this is going to be a reset, a reno on the boss.
Yeah,
this early, yeah.
Basically, they only get a B-res at the 430 mark. They actually don't start the fight with a B-res because of how they have to do this strat. And as we saw earlier, you can't 18-man the boss for a prolonged period of time. You can only like 19-man it potentially.
Yeah, so if you're Blizzard watching this, you know, there were talks about do they nerf this boss, and everyone's surprised that they didn't. If it takes Liquid and Echo, you know, maybe over double-digit polls, maybe into like 20.
5.
You think that Blizzard goes, yeah, actually we should have nerfed it, and they throw in a nerf this week?
5. I thought that they should hit this fight with like a 10% HP nerf, remove the ability to be able to one tank, and then nerf Queen's Bane again. Those are the 3. Those are the things that I would have changed about this fight. It's more just like Liquid and Echo are in next resets gear, maybe in the reset after worth the gear in terms of item level.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a different approach, but it does seem like the content for the gear you get is a lot harder, and then gearing is like slow. Like I'm just kind of going through the Pug Life and Mythic Plus, and I'm just having to grind out the crests and like upgrade little by little to just get to the next level.
So they intentionally changed that this patch because they moved Myth track from 4 out of 4 to 6 out of 6. And so in the past it was I want to say it was a 6 item level differential between heroic item level gear. So like the top of Mythic Plus loot, whenever you'd upgrade it, that was a 6 item level difference. Now it's 13. And so yeah, the gear cap is just way higher this patch, and you notice it, right? But then, you know, guilds like Liquid, guilds like Echo, they min-max as much myth gear as they can possibly get from things like BOE farming or whatever else, vaults and whatnot. But then they also have all of their gear at max hero track as well. And so they are very far ahead of most other groups in terms of how much gear they're going to have. Now, this reset, for most people, your heroic crests, you should be able to have most, if not all of your gear fully upgraded to the top of hero track. But that wasn't necessarily true last week unless you were in a guild like Liquid or Echo.
Something I'm curious of is we saw them intermittently throughout the day going through different instances and actually clearing a bunch of trash just to try to get BOE drops. I'd like to get like a number from somebody on how many actual BOEs they got. How fruitful was that? Because those BOEs that dropped, those are 3 of 6 myth track items. Those are 629, which is actually quite useful.
Here's kind of OP. Yeah. I think they got 3 rather early on, but I don't know how many more pieces, if any more, they got about that. Okay, chat's typing 3. And keep typing 5. Keep typing 5.
Yeah, hold on.
We're on poll number 5, chat, not number 3.
No. But they were saying, I think they were saying 3 BOEs.
Careful with those numbers.
Yeah. You're gonna confuse people.
Yeah, you have to add a description if the number is not the poll count, just so we know no one is confused.
Just so everybody's aware.
Nick, so we'll probably see that number go up one more time. Maybe they'll try and limp their way through this, but I think they're going to have trouble with those Queen Bane dots.
I suspect that we'll be typing 6 soon.
Yeah, I guess they have a hard time resetting right before the intermission because the boss goes to the middle and they can't drag it out anymore. So maybe they'll just try and live through this, save some augment runes.
Nick does have the Soulstone, so if they choose to just wipe it here, he can quickly Soulstone and res everyone else. But they're going to try to keep everyone alive just so they don't lose buffs and have to redo all that stuff again, so they can reset it after the fact.
Oh, she did the voice line executed.
Oh, whenever she actually hits somebody below 10%, she hits them with the executed.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it is reset. Get that number up 1
6
plus 1 to 6. Yeah, I guess that's the thing I was forgetting about this fight. For like the poll count, is you can rip the polls very fast. Like, it's not been that long, and they've already done 6 polls, so... It's not impossible. It does go to like 20, I guess. But yeah, I thought...
No.
I'm still thinking it's under 10.
Don't say that.
I mean, they got really close. You know, was it 3%?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely possible to just kind of clutch it out quickly, which is what they want. I'm sure they're confident coming into this fight, but it has been a big question on how long the reclear is going to be if it wasn't nerfed.
Dude, does Fired Up's HP start with a 6 on a mage?
Woo!
Wait, does he really have 6 million health?
Looks like it.
6.1.
Wow.
Gosh. What item level
He's
is
627.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was higher than what we had during M+ testing. That was 626 that we were scaled to. Oh my gosh.
What?
Ooh, what is the guild's item level now? Are you able to pull it up on that laptop?
So on the Brood Twister kill, they were 622.8. A couple weird factors there, though. They had the 2 alt blood decays in that were a little lower. They were 618 and 620. Also, we know that they haven't sent every single possible upgrade yet, right? They're still sitting on their crests, or most of them are. There's a good possibility that a number of them are still sitting on their vault, just so they can optimize weekly loot. You know, you might have a couple of different boss items that you're hoping to get, and you might be the only one that can actually use that as an upgrade from the raid. So rather than take it from the vault right away, they'll wait to see if it drops in the raid. If it drops in the raid, they can take something else out of their vault. We'll have a better idea of where their item level is when they actually start pulling Ansarek. I suspect it'll be quite a bit higher than the 622.8 mark. It's probably going to be upwards of 625.
Okay.
See though.
That would be quite good.
And what was the number? Does it have it there for last week?
I stopped.
622 about?
Silken Court was like 622.1, I want to say, in that area. A little over 622.
Okay. All right. Get ready to add another number.
7.
Resetting once again.
7.
It is nice they didn't fix the reset.
That is nice, yeah.
True.
It's pretty easy to wipe the
so they're pulling this boss,
but
they're pulling this boss right now at 624.3, and whenever they killed it, they were 622.4.
Okay.
So
not that much.
1.9 item levels.
I mean, I guess they were like thick to begin with. You know, they farmed about all they can get out of heroic.
They also haven't sent all of their myth track crests for gear upgrades. They haven't crafted largely, so there's still going to be some gear.
Do you think you craft? Or do you just upgrade? I guess it depends on your particular loot.
You might be crafting a heroic piece.
Oh, that is true, because they did get the item from...
yeah, the Ansarek crest.
From Ansarek.
And they would most likely just do that if you crafted a two-hander, and then you can craft the off piece that buffs the embellishment on the two-hander. Is that what most people are doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll be a nice buff.
A lot of people had it on like PvP bracers or belt or something like that with the PvP socket. So under some circumstances, that might end up actually being a worse piece of gear for you. But sockets are on average about 10 item levels.
They're really bad this expansion. I don't know if you've looked at sims for gems, but +1 gem on my mage, which is not that badly good, it's like 620, is like 2,000 DPS.
A lot of people ended up having to take sockets on their mains this week too.
This week?
Yeah.
This week, that's pretty bad. Last week it wasn't that bad because it was just like delve gear and heroic gear. But
yeah, a lot of people took sockets on their gear this week too. It's brutal.
Oof. In Liquid or just in the world?
Both.
Ooh. That doesn't feel good to kill all those mythic bosses and you don't get something out of the box.
It's okay.
No, what about you? Any box luck?
Yeah, my guys are like pretty baby, but they both got tier, so that's good because they got tier last week also. So now I just need to catalyze some stuff.
I have 0 pieces of tier.
Ooh. Have you been pugging the raids?
Killed through Silken Court earlier today. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Just no luck with tier. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I have 3 potential pieces, right? 2 from the catalyst, 1 from the token, but I just never got any.
Yeah. 1 to drop. Yeah.
Yeah, never got any other tier. Brutal.
Is the AUG tier set actually quite good this year? I'm actually
not
even
bad.
What is it?
More main stat for the people whenever you buff them with Evan Might.
Okay.
Are you going to be playing AUG, or are you going to follow these guys and play Dev?
I'm a Mythic Plus only kind of guy, so augmentation is the choice for that.
Okay. Still good there. Yeah, they have a lot of evokers on this fight.
Ooh,
so
days are going down. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, first intermission deaths should just be a reset.
Yeah. Especially we saw, like, they did good damage on that pole. They got it low, but they still, I think, just need everybody alive probably till they're, like, third, almost near the end of the fight.
8.
Like, about third intermission. Then they can probably lose somebody, but...
Maybe the 11.5 dash gave was the right odds.
That might be right.
I definitely hammered the under, but now I'm feeling less great about it.
Well, they could still slam it out in one of these 3 or 4 pulls here. Something else that Dash brought up as an interesting topic point that I think I'd like to hear your guys' opinion on as well is the question he asked was, if there was a standout raider for individual play this tier right now, who would you think of right now? And I'll tell you right now, him and I both instantly thought Dazer. As somebody who has not been in for the first 66% of the pulls. He came in on Brew Twister like halfway through, came in on Kaivesa halfway through, and then also just played up to the standard of the guild while not having those extra pulls. I think he clutched out a couple of kills for them. But anyone else that you guys can think of?
I would be inclined to say Boomy or Impact. Boomy would probably be my standout performer because it's his first year in the guild, first year rating at a Race World first experience. He's been on every pull of every single individual boss. And I can't really think of a time that he's dying. He's also the person who's taunting. He's getting assigned jobs as well in the raid, which is not something that you normally also get assigned as like a first tier raider in a Race World first guild. He's like taunting the boss on this fight, making sure that his die by the sword's available. So he's basically playing down a defensive over Riku on the other warrior. And so he doesn't have that available for him. So then he has to be very diligent about getting externaled if he needs it. And he's I can't remember a time that he was dying on this boss.
Like also his first progress tier.
Yeah, he's very good.
Too. That's definitely a good shout. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Gabs?
Yeah, my knee jerk would just be fired up, but yeah, I think I agree with you on Dazer because he also I didn't think saw much progression last year, so this is like almost like his trial run, and he just stepped up to some of the hardest bosses we've ever seen, and like you said, he did so good. Like I didn't notice him dying extra to anything. It's like he was there the whole time, and that's really hard to do on a fight this hard, is to like keep up with the people who've already put in like 200 pulls over you. And so, yeah, I agree with you. That's a good like dark horse pick, I think.
I think Atlas is also a good pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Atlas is less of a pick for that particular strategy, just because I kind of expect him to be that.
Is it like a dark horse standout, or is it just like standout performer?
Standout performer. I mean, whenever Atlas gets play time, he's one of the guys that you love seeing because he's just one of those insane performance players in Liquid. Obviously, they have a ton of really insane players, but so it's hard to choose standout people. But he's definitely one of the ones who you love seeing in the raid, especially when DK is good.
Yeah, I mean, don't put it past Scott also. Having to one tank this. I don't know how difficult it is. Dratnos is saying there's points where it's harder than two tanking, and he's getting hit by the boss the whole time. And then like you're taking more damage, but then I guess because you don't have the other tank with the dot, the healers have like an easier time with it. But yeah, Scott's got quite a difficult job on this fight. Needs to place every portal. Needs to make sure he gets the res and doesn't just like instant taunt and die, but also taunt quick enough that it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah, the other thing that I wanted to point out about the one tank, and the reason I think the Guardian Druid one tank is so impressive, back when they were two tanking this fight, Yips on the Brewmaster was the one taking the brunt of the tank busters. He would take 2 every phase. Scott would just take the one in the middle to help reset Yips.
Yes.
Now doing that on the Guardian Druid with no reset, who was almost dying to just the one he was taking when they were two tanking, is extremely impressive. Now obviously he dies a lot, but all of that's up by design, as we've already covered. And hey, while we've been chatting here, we've got a good poll. 2 minutes in through the intermission, all players alive, still have the battle res ready for Scott whenever he needs to use it in P3.
Yep, they're placing down these portals. Nice little pentagon formation. Scott running over there to place the last one. Nick running out with his Queensbane to do the orbs. Flying back in, easy, safe in the middle. Nothing can go wrong here. Right, next come.
Oh my gosh, everybody just drops so low as those portals go off.
Yeah, this nice breezy dash, and more Queensbane dots going out on
Scott dies here, which is fine. We soulstone.
This is the plan. That's what the soulstone's for.
Boomy taunts with die by the sword, tanks the boss there.
Yeah, not scary at all.
Yeah, Scott doesn't have to taunt right away. He's got a few seconds of die by the sword to live. This is a weird pull-in, though. Those portals are not in the right place. That's going to take out a few players.
Everybody get pulled in.
And we're going to get a reset. Yeah, there was one portal that was offset in the wrong spot there, which caused the center of gravity of those portals to be right on top of one of the portals.
First off, 9.
Yep.
Second off, this was the difference between the Liquid strat and the Echo strat that I saw. Because those portals are so close, it's difficult to find where the equilibrium is going to be on where those portals are kind of, where that safe spot is going to be. If the portals were just a little bit further away from your character, you could actually find a nice safe spot. But because they're just like so close to one another, if the safe spot is just a little bit off center, then you can just get sucked right into the portal.
That I feel kind of vindicated, because what Echo is doing is kind of what I was talking about potentially doing. Not necessarily exactly, but doing the diagonal lines in order to make it so that the center is more free. The thing that I wasn't thinking of was using the boss placement as a mask breaker. That's something that Echo's doing in their strat, which I think is pretty cool. Moving the Miraz has to individually move the boss in order to make sure the correct ones are being broken on the first charge. That's a really cool strategy that they came up with. I think that's probably going to be what most guilds are going to do for their progression.
Yeah, I think so.
I suspect so as well, but I don't think that the Liquid strat is like noticeably worse or anything.
No, I don't think it is either.
No, it's less like perfect geometry, I think.
Yeah.
With the Liquid one. Yeah, the Echo one, Echoes looks really cool when they do it. Just the way they dash. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a cool, like, she goes in a little zigzag around.
Yeah, they do the 2 clockwise pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that most people are going to end up using the Echo strap because it gives you a little bit more leeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try, like, they place them in the pentagon thing too, and then they like kind of offset the dashes, and they always have them crisscross because you need to clear 2 masks at one point in phase 2 and 3, and so they have a spot to do that, but also a spot to only pick 1 for the first phase. And then the second dash, they just have everyone go straight through the boss, like to the opposite side of the room. And then that clears all remaining masks. Yeah. I wish like Method had come up with something different. I want to see like more variations on some of the geometry.
There very well maybe a new variation that some other guild comes up with that ends up being, the premier progression strat. We've seen that happen with other bosses in the past. Doesn't really come to mind right now, but like
Il'gynoth.
Yes, actually, Il'gynoth is a fantastic.
Second Il'gynoth Part 2.
Yes. If you guys remember Il'gynoth, there was a strategy where you just never dispelled the debuffs ever, and you kept them on players the entire fight. It was a lot of damage to heal through, and if one debuff died, the entire raid died. Mm-hmm. But theoretically, it was easier to deal with that way, since you never had to stack then spread out, then stack then spread out.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
That's the only one that really comes to mind.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure there were others. But
a big one that I can think of, I don't know like when the strat got adopted, but it was on Rostakon. I know like Bubba for BDG came up with this really clever strat where they would use like the portals for going under as like a safe spot.
Oh yeah.
And then the orbs would just like, they'd be protected by all the gates.
Yeah, you would stand against the wall and you had a full range comp stand underneath.
Yeah.
I thought that was like the strat that that was the strat that everybody used, but maybe it's just made up.
Oh, I actually have one. I'm going to age myself here. Siegecrafter Blackfuse. Blood Legion got the world first kill on that boss by empowering drills. And then they were the only guild to ever do that, because Midwinter empowered bombs every time they could instead, and made the room much more clean and clear. And everyone's like, yeah, we're just going to do that one. That looks a little easier.
I would love to see a Siegecrafter type fight come back. I mean, I guess Brew Twister's similar, where you can pick your path.
Troll going down.
Do Trill down. Yeah, this will probably be a reset coming out of this intermission. This is the first one.
Yep, there's going to be a reset. Tobo going down as well. It's going to spell the end a little bit.
Yeah, still an insanely punishing fight. I mean, a lot of the mechanics, the gear does not help with. I mean, barely with the Queensbane dot. They've got a little more stamina. They're fired up with this beefy 6.1 million. But
chat, which wipe is this?
Oh,
10. Yeah. It's the lucky number 10.
Ooh. Okay. So I've been wronged. I was thinking under 10.
17, 69, 5.
10. Everybody type 10.
It can't be 10, though. There's no way.
It is. We've been counting.
3, 13, 567? I sure hope not.
Don't they have better gear? Why are they one tanking? Somebody asks in chat.
Chatting.
No, they're being serious.
Yeah, they're just doing it, I think, because the reason they did it the first time, when I asked Siori, he was talking to me about it, he said, either you've got to be perfect and play through with like if you 2-tank, you have to be perfect, and nobody can really die because the DPS check is so crazy. So
Yeah.
if you're already playing perfect and wanting nobody to die, then why not just have an extra DPS in and do this little tank juggle that they're doing? And we're seeing that they had a wipe where somebody died early and they still could not beat the DPS. So
They had 2 deaths early.
Yeah, 2 deaths in the second intermission. Actually, they had 3. Sevi also died, but he onked, so it didn't count for a battle res.
It's a lot of wings uptime.
That is a lot of wings uptime
Yay.
for Dazer, but they all died at the same time, unfortunately. Yeah, Malarkus and Exile died. They rezzed up Exile. Malarkus was dead for the last 2.5 minutes, and they wiped it 2.5%.
Malarkus, I think, is their highest DPS in the last phase, too. That guy, I think he was doing like 55 million damage, but from the last 30 seconds of the fight.
Is he also sending like a Mad Queen's Mandate there or something?
I have no idea.
He must be.
I think he's just BM Hunter.
yeah, BM. I'm assuming still has its execute, and then there's so much mobility in that last phase, and
Kill shot's
all
pretty
globals.
garbage, but yeah, they still have it.
Doesn't Kill Command do some sort of buff when they're low? I could be wrong. Maybe that's old tech.
Turns out being able to do all your damage on the move in a high-intensity movement phase is pretty nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very nice. A nice vibe on the BM Hunter. It's a cozy progression spec because you're never worried about finishing casts and getting clipped by anything. You can just run around.
This is the last poll that the undervoters can take on that 11.5 over-under line we said earlier, so hopefully they kill it. Otherwise...
Was there a prediction in chat for that?
I don't know if there was, but
oh my gosh.
Myself, Aya, and Dash all took the under on the 11.5, so
no.
we might all be wrong here.
It looks like Trill wants his boss dead.
Vegas might be winning this one.
Alright, upcoming to his little range spot. He's got a little buddy over there. It looks like Dranako. Make sure not to cleave each other. The really nasty line is the one that run right there that lines up with the slice.
Yeah.
Is sketch sometimes because when you're moving, you're just like sweeping across the whole room, and they try and like leave a little room for their friend or not run into their friend, but you know sometimes you just gotta like clip your bro.
This poll's pretty good damage. They're, I don't want to say a lot ahead of the damage check, but they're a decent amount ahead of the damage check right now. Even looking at the top of fired up screen, you can see that represented by that bar. I was just looking at like the 210 mark.